Good evening, everyone. How are you keeping? It's only Thursday. It was only Thursday when we last live, so I guess it's been a while. But it's been a few days anyway. It's fun anyway. Usually would be Wednesday, so we're a bit shorter this week. So we'll probably be live for a good while now tonight. There was a bit of fuckery on Thursday, to put it like that. I should probably not cost in the 40 minutes of video, like a live stream. It wouldn't go too well on the YouTube algorithm. But basically, yeah, notification stuff was just basically a mess. YouTube seemed to be not working. My YouTube was kind of acting weird too. Like even just watching videos and stuff, some videos just wouldn't play. So I don't know what was the issue there, but hopefully tonight now it'll go a bit better. Fingers crossed, maybe, possibly, could be. But anyway, we're here now. And it says one person famous in his head. I'm here now. So, yeah. We give it a few minutes in it because I am literally 3 minutes early, and usually I had to give it a few minutes for everything to notifications and stuff like that. So yeah. So quite a good bit to talk about. My sheet. Where is have it there? Just want to check. Bring it over to be close to me. So yeah, be a while tonight now. This live stream, I say, could go on to 8 o'clock or so. Give or take, I say, depending on how quick. I try and be calm instead of go through things at 100 miles an hour. But yeah, hello, Yusuf. How are you doing? How's which? The tricks? What tricks? How's tricks? You mean? Not too bad. I thought it was an extra tricks like the bow. So we will get started in about 5 minutes time. We give it time for people to come in and stuff like that. The YouTube notifications. It's unfortunate the YouTube notifications are the way they are, even for channels that I've subscribed to. I don't get notifications, even though I have the bell on, etc., etc. You don't get notifications. I don't know how to phrase it at the moment. It's kind of an awkward, not so much silence, I would say. It's kind of an awkward atmosphere at the moment. I suppose there's not much. There's protests, of course, around the country. I don't really know how to call it, but still not. It's not great. Let's put it that way, because there's still about 800, 900 coming a week, give or take. Maybe some weeks it could be 600. That's about what it is, 600 to 900 or so a week that's coming into the country. And obviously this huge TED cities, etc., etc. And then obviously you see down the country too. Yeah, like there's literally parks. There's an army barracks. I think some former army barracks down the country somewhere, and have military-style TEDs in the back, like in the grounds, for asylum seekers. I don't know whereabouts it is. It's somewhere down the country. It's out in Dublin, but yeah, there's TEDs obviously where they usually are the International Protection Office along the Grand Canal, other parts of the city, like basically just TED City, basically. But it's I don't know how to phrase it, but it's kind of awkward. Like there's not much. Obviously, is discussion about it. It's the biggest thing in the country. I don't really know how to. So it's kind of weird atmosphere at the moment. So I don't know. You have to make it up. But I presume why there's not much talk about it now, because the mainstream media are trying to shut people up, I suppose, in the way. Next week, yeah. But not so much Ukrainians that's coming, John. Maybe before was this, like the majority of people who are coming now, through all of them from Georgia, Algeria, Albania, etc. So that's where they're coming from. That's the majority, and all young men. Algeria, Jordan, Georgia, sorry, in the Caucasus, and Algeria, and Morocco too. There's a lot of Moroccans coming, and a lot of Iranians too. There's a good few Iranians that's starting to increase a good bit. So I don't know why I don't know what wars are there, but there's nothing that I can see of. Maybe you could argue if it's from the people from Palestine could be good, but I don't see anybody. But that's what the numbers are showing. That's what the saying the phone, but showing. How many is the Middle East? Who knows? I don't think they've taken any. To be totally honest. So we give it another 3 minutes, and then we get started. Just so notifications go out. Do I have my tablets over there? Give me a second. I should have my tablet with me just in case I ever need it. Sorry about that. Exactly, none. Yeah, exactly. Quite literally. Like Egypt said, particularly with Palestine, they said they would, sacrifice thousands of men to make sure that none of them come in, etc. A delegation in Helsinki. What do you mean by that? Do you think of us equally in Helsinki at the moment? This is just, what they call it, a green screen behind me. It's a green screen. It's all fake. It's I can just touch that wall and long behold, I'm outside the Helsinki Cathedral or something like that. Like to be, because let's be fair, the weather is actually better over there at the moment than it is here. There's actually sunshine and stuff like that at the moment. It's 30 degrees in Helsinki at the moment. So far better than this place where it's just been raining and raining and raining. So we should all head to Helsinki for the sun. Not stored, yeah. But how are we doing? I hope the weather's not getting people down because it's just been miserable. Last night it was miserable. This morning it's been miserable. It's starting to brighten up a bit now, but there's no point now because it'll be dark before 9. So. I suppose we get started now. It's going to be a long live stream tonight, just to say to people. So just bear with me on a good few things. I try and take it slow. I'm not going to wash myself too much tonight. With topics and stuff like that. I'm going to take it easy a bit, I suppose. So yeah. So quite a good bit to go through, but I give it another minute, and just to get notifications. I think they just went through there. I can see them on my tablet. That just went through there. Painted the room. You have to paint in the room. Painting the room, where you could come and paint my room. But hopefully, speaking of painting, hopefully, man, do it soon. I hope to get it done before Christmas. Because again, you probably, I don't know if you remember, Evan, only, but a lot of people would remember. There used to be an Irish map there, and it used to always fall down, etc., etc. So that's what those the thumbtacks and stuff on the wall here. You probably see on the here. The thumbtacks were there to try and keep up the map of Ireland. They kept it just wouldn't stay up, regardless of what I did. I even sellotaped it at one stage of the wall, and it just wouldn't stay up. And that's why the thumbtacks are there. So it kind of destroyed the wall a bit. So I want to kind of get that sorted. And anyway, the wall is a bit plain. Like it's too plain. I want kind of some colours on it. Some kind of bright colours, because it's kind of very missable looking, particularly there, and not even to mention across the wall. Yeah, I don't know what the map is where I'm not happy. I wouldn't have but before this picture was ever here, there was a map of Ireland there, and I used to be able to point to stuff if I was saying, about cavan. I was able to point to the area and say this is where I was, etc., etc. But there'd be no room for it unless I had a way down here. But see, the thing is, oftentimes you see there's a mark here too. I usually put the chair up against the wall when I'm doing things and where I'm moving around here. So hopefully all going well. I do, because we were supposed to get it done before the lockdowns and stuff like that. And then obviously the lockdowns came in, we couldn't do it. So it was supposed to be done long ago. So hopefully, hello Tony. Sorry, too busy yapping. So it's supposed to be done long ago. So hopefully, please God, to get it done. Touch wood, get it done. The whole room done by Christmas. Hopefully, it won't be me to be doing it. I'll be getting a local man to do it. Even though he's quite pricey, but he's the local painter. I'm happy enough to get him to do it. The only problem is a lot of stuff had to be taken out. out the room, and all this needs to be basically everything needs to be moved out of the room. That's the only problem I'm going to have, because there's just far too much stuff basically in this room to be done, especially documents and stuff. There's too much. And then obviously new table, etc., etc. So that's the whole plan. Now I don't know where I'm going to start, but I suppose I start with you probably have heard me now the last few weeks have been like I don't know what you would call it. I've been talking a lot, particularly issue. So this is to do with one part of cavan. I've talked about it 3 or 4 times, I think, in the last week, because it's been going on 4 weeks. So technically, it's been lifted now. The do not consume water in the Red Hills, Ballyhills area. Technically, it's been lifted. It took long enough, but again, I understand. I know some of the people that are walking the water crowd in the council and what they call it. It's not Irish water. It's cavan, isn't it? The Irish water group, and the Anna Lake water group too. It's not an easy fix because there was loads of nitrate, etc., etc. It was a lot of tricking about. I understand that, but a lot of people in these areas had to go out of their way to get water from shops, etc., etc., gallons of water, etc., etc. And there's a lot of tricking about, basically. And it shouldn't have took this long, basically. And especially in the first world country, people shouldn't have to experience this, because every month nearly now there's some part of cavan like this. There's a do not consume notice, etc., etc. It's literally every month. So we do have to try and look at that, because people shouldn't have to worry about literally getting sick from drinking water from the first world country. Let's put that way. But thankfully it's been lifted, so that's some good news. Hello, Queen Face. How are you doing? You were asking about the true Finns and stuff like that, everyone. Hello, everyone. I know there's a lot of people here for some reason. But I hope everybody's well. So at least that's some good news. But it took long. But my point in this, and keep bringing it up particularly, and why I'm starting on this, is just making a point that the people of Cavan, the people of Ireland, who shouldn't have to deal with this. I'm sure even in your local area, oftentimes the water is, some places in the country too, it's just black. Like the water's literally black and brown coming out of the tap. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough for a first world country. It's not good enough. Excuse me, sorry, apologies. It's just not good enough. I don't know what you mean, yes. So this is good news too. So this is just at the road here from where I am. So there's an old railway station. You can see behind this is an old railway station where the train line used to be in Cavan. It's a museum now. I was in it a few weeks ago. I'm going to go back some stage. I have to go back, especially because they have this new railway carriage done up. They have done it up, etc., etc. All these people are volunteers to looking after it. So the plan is hopefully at some point, it'll probably take another 10 years at least, to have a small railway track, like not like a full-on railway track, but for people to go in it, like a kind of tourist thing. And it's good because it's really, really nice that it's preserved, the train station, etc., etc. You can look up videos of it online. And not to mention, before the 2000, the early 2000s, this building here and the whole area around it was all dilapidated, basically going to ruins, and it's all done up now. And it's a great asset, especially the history behind it, because that railway station in Belturbet was there since, I don't know, since the trains first started in this country. So 18 something, 200 or 300 years ago. Probably 200 years ago, sorry, beg my pardon. But yeah, which dates back, like the wagon. This wagon was originally in Belturbet and stuff, like 1880, what they call it, 1888. So that's when it originates, this carriage. This carriage here. So it's really, really good, and hopefully in the future they'll be able to get like they have the trains, they need to do them up, etc., etc. So it all costs money, basically. So basically, if you're ever in Belturbet, what I'm trying to say, because they are very nice people, the people that work there, that are there volunteer in their time. So I do recommend to go in and have a look around. It's only €7 or something like that to get in. Then you can give a donation if you want. But yeah, basically the money goes to a good cause. Because it's really well kept and it's well done, especially because if you see the photos of when it was abandoned in the 50s to what it is today, it's a quite different, and it's great to see it because again, this would just be lying idle and it's being reused for a purpose, basically. Um, yeah, but no, but what was? But yeah, but it's good to see that it's up and going. You know that they're starting to get there because sooner or later there will be tracks that are going around the area, and there'll be an artificial, like not an artificial train, but a train that just can get on it and go around, etc., etc. So hopefully that's like it's a heritage kind of way. But it's really really good that it's up and going, especially because again this carriage here, just to say 1880s or so. So that's over, nearly well, 100 and something. It'd be 100 and something years. Would it be 1880s? It's a long time ago. Let's put it that way. So it's good to preserve it because again, this carriage probably was lying somewhere just gathering dust and forgotten about. And it's better that it's out display and being the history is being used for this. If that makes any sense, because these historical artifacts should be preserved and should be kept. Uh, Hello, Gordon. How are we doing? You have a new profile picture. Foundation of one. But so I just want to talk about this because I have a lot of insight in this. Now you probably know I never talk out about it. Let's put it that way. But you say the Cavan and Monaghan never issued any fines is an understatement because I've sought it 3 or 4 times for people to be found for dog fouling for not picking up after their dogs. And nothing ever came of it. Basically, basically that's what I'm trying to say. Even though all the evidence was there, etc., etc. But it just goes so not even one fine basically, and across the whole country, in the whole Republic of Ireland, just 6 in 2020 were fined. That's across the whole country. You can wonder why the whole place is covered in dog shit on footpaths, etc., etc. And the people I feel bad for the most, the general public shouldn't have to deal with this, first of all. But the people I feel bad for the most is people with disabilities, people on wheelchairs, people who have mobility problems, elderly people. They don't have the luxury of walking across to another side of the road or walking the other side. People on a wheelchair haven't got the luxury of that. And I've seen it. I've seen people on wheelchairs and them having to clean up their own like the wheels of their wheelchair, because of the dog shit they had to go through because there's no other option. Because again, they can't maneuver everywhere the same as you or me. We can walk to the other side of the street. And that's the people I feel bad for. Um, uh, And the main reason is, in Cavan particularly, there's not much of a will. And that's the problem. There's no will to prosecute these people. There's no will. They all talk, but there's no will. Simple as that. And that's the problem. And the same with the councillors. Every day of the week, you hear them crying and saying, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do the other. But as I said to one of them before, they should come out and lift some of the dog shit. And not one of them is about to do that. Obviously, I have to do this nearly every day, nearly, having to pick up the dogs. I'm the only one who doesn't, really, in the council, because again, it's very bad for your health. You can go blind too if it can get stuck in your eye. There's loads of health risks to it. But basically, councillors don't give a shit. They're quite literally. The only time they were actually talking some serious shit about it was during the election. Now they've all disappeared and nowhere to be found. Because it took ages. Like, we have dog bins and dog bags free for the public to use, etc. So there's basically no excuse. In the major areas of Cavan, Buttersbridge, we have it here. In Beltobwood, we have it. In the town, we have it a lot of places. In Ballyheels, we have it. We have it in Natil, we have it in Baileybo, we have it in Virginia. Thousands and thousands of euros spent on free dog bags, free dog bin for you to get rid of your dog, the dog poo, etc., if you lift it up. So basically, nobody's out any expense personally if they just do it. It's the fact of the matter: people are just too lazy and want somebody to clean up after themselves, clean up for them, basically. And that's the problem we have in this county. And the fact that there's no will, and they know they're not going to be prosecuted, that's what's causing it. Because if somebody was prosecuted, then no, we probably shouldn't. But again, as I say, I went 3 or 4 times. I've said about people. There's evidence to back it up. Fuck all done about it, basically. So that's the issue. So no surprise really there. Yeah, because as I said earlier on, it's the fact of the matter. I've seen elderly people have the crutches and stuff like that couldn't maneuver and stuff like that. And it's bad for the general public too. And obviously, as a member of the local authority, you have to take responsibility for the public. You have to think of public safety. You have to think of the public's needs. And instead of your own needs, to put the public first before yourself, basically. What I'm trying to say, because the public shouldn't have to deal with it, even if you're just a small kid, etc., etc. They shouldn't. Nobody should have to basically walk into dog shit on a public footpath, and that's what I'm committed to do. To try and solve. I've done a good bit of it throughout the last few years. But what I'm trying to say is, I've seen people on wheelchairs, particularly. That's what I feel bad for people on wheelchairs having to go through it and seeing the mess that was left after it. And people with like even young women with trolley, like young women with baby, what would you call it, baby trolleys, bringing the baby out for a walk, etc., etc. It's just not. It's not pleasant. It isn't pleasant, and it's not fair on them having to go and clean it up out of the out on the wheels, etc. The baby trolley or on the wheelchair. It's not fair, and it's just not. It's just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable because people pay for that public footpath. And people should be allowed to walk freely on it, basically, without having to worry about that. Um, and and it's just not acceptable, you because at the end of the day, you have to take personal responsibility too, because you have a personal responsibility to the community to make sure your dog is secure and not running wild or is not shitting on the ground. Because again, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility, But yeah, no, it's especially when you see that. But again, as I say to you, the problem, I don't know about in other counties, but the problem here in Cavan is there's no will. There's loads of talk. There's loads of this. We'll do this. We do that. In Leitrim, the start of a scheme thing where the dog warden had DNA kit. He can take a sap because in the dog shit too, obviously the DNA you can find out what dog it belongs to. They have it in Leitrim. They started it in Leitrim because obviously Leitrim less people, etc. So the person in Leitrim has that. There's no will to do it in Cavan, because basically what I'm trying to say, it takes time to prosecute these people, to bring them to court. It takes years. Not to mention, it'd take a lot of money to prosecute and etc. etc. It's a whole just fucking fuck away. I know about even a league of Dublin fines. Like it's a joke. It's just generally a joke. It nearly favours the people who are breaking the law. That's to put it straight. And if you dare misgender somebody, by God, the whole law will come down on you. But if you do something like this, there's people literally coming to Cavan from Dublin and from other parts of the country to come and dump their rubbish in ditches and in shocks and in rivers in some cases in Cavan every week. They're doing it, and nothing's done about it because there's nothing that can be done. It is very funny in a way that it's still happening to this. There's people, I can name names here, but there's people doing that. There's literally people. Somebody comes from Logfoot every week up to Cavan to dump his rubbish, and there's nothing ever done about it. That's the best part of it. That's the funniest part of it all. And that's what happens with legal doubles. They go from outside their county because it's a lot of work to prosecute somebody outside a different county. It's just a whole fuck away. It's just a mess, basically. The whole system's just fucked, basically, to put it straight to you. And the fact of the matter that you have a lot of councillors who just don't want to deal with it, or just don't care to do anything about it. When the election comes, they care, but they don't care. Like, you should have heard the big talk of this before the election. There was every council in the county was on about it. And then if you ask them, did they ever go out and do it for the public interest? Because I can name 3 or 4 councillors that people who come to me and ask me to lift it up and they went to their councillors and they wouldn't do anything for them. The fact of the matter too is it's a danger to people's health too, can go blind, etc., etc. I know about others. I can nearly write a PhD on it, but it's not fair. I'm not saying on me, but it's not fair on the only members of the public too, who sometimes have to go and lift it up to stop other people walking it. It's just not fair. And it just goes down to pure laziness and pure selfishness, in my opinion. But it's something that we do have to contend with, particularly in Cavan. We need to kind of get some fucking balls, to put it straight, to put it in the nicest possible terms. We need to start getting some balls and just getting these people and dealing with them very harshly. Either make them go out and clean it up, make them go and do the whole world to themselves, and be very tough with them. Because again, that's the only way really to get through to these people, being extremely tough with them. But again, that never happened. If I was there, it would be happening because I wouldn't deal with them. So it was that I just tell them fucking go and do it and stuff like that. I have no time for these people. who are just selfish bastards. Excuse my language, but I feel very how would you put it? Because again, I see it every day. So that's what I'm trying to say. I see it every day, and that's I know. I can tell you in detail everything. But long story short, these councils never in their life done it, basically. So yeah. So again, as I say, I see it every day, and I have a lot to say about it. It's not even that. It's just people that don't want to pay for their own rubbish. It's not even that. It's not even gypsies or anything. It's just people that just don't want to pay. As simple as that. Just don't want to pay for the rubbish. And these are the same people. I've told you 3 or 4 times about people that we have come across, found their name and information letters in the rubbish. And there's one person particularly has a big house, he has 2 cows, he has about 250,000 euro in the bank, and he doesn't want to pay for his rubbish. And he said it straight out to a member of the local authority that he doesn't want to pay for his rubbish. He expects the taxpayer to flip the bill for his rubbish. And he said it straight out. It's just the people that are too mean, they're too miserable to pay for it. That's as simple as that. And that's the problem with a lot. Now, there is some genuine people who can't afford it, but there's a lot of them that just, like that fellow, as I say, who have more money than you or me, let me say. They have more money than you and me. They can nearly buy the job if they wanted to. They just don't want to pay for it. Simple as that. And it's the fact of the matter too, as I say, even about League of Dublin, I know top of that. It's not fair on me. I have to pay 80 euro, take for example, a month for my green bin and my black bin with oxygen. And that's a lot. It is a lot. 80 euros is quite steep a month for the bins, etc., etc. It's not fair on only Joes who have to pay that. Have to fork it out of their own paycheck. And there's people like that who have money who can nearly buy the whole company of oxygen. Like that fellow with 202 cows. I wouldn't mind 2 cows in a big house and a plot of land. Like, it's insane. And generally, it is insane. And he expects other people, the taxpayer, to flip the bill. And that's what was said. And nothing was ever done about it. He never was brought up the steps, etc., etc. Because the reason why, because he could fight it and nearly sued the state for it. To be told, because that's what would happen. You end up, we bring him to court and he sue us, he sued the council, he sued this, he sued that. It's just a lot of confuckery, to put it straight to. But long story short, I've come across people who have more money than anybody makes a week. There's people in thousands of euro doing it. Simple as that. It's just insane. And not to mention, these people have cows, etc., and able to go up and down and stuff like that to different parts of the country and do it. It's just people that just don't want to pay for it. Like that fellow said, it's a perfect example. Just didn't want to pay for it. Even though he has all the money in the world, it's not going to kill him to pay for it or to bring it to the top. But he can do, I suppose he's right in the way when what's going to be really done to stop him, because we never prosecute, even though he admitted it. And it's plain to see we have evidence 3 or 4 times over of him doing it. Like, we know who's doing it. That's the thing. We know the names. I can name names here. But it's the fact of the matter we can't do really anything to stop him because the law favours the people doing it. That's what I'm trying to say. Hello, not too bad going. But you get what I'm saying. It's not so much gypsies, but it's even just the only Joe. Again, these people have money. The majority of these people have money, just don't want to pay. Just simple as that. And I've seen it hundreds of times. They don't want to pay. Because why would you pay 80 euro? Why would you do things the right way when you can get off for doing things, just fucking things around the place and not having to pay that 80 euro? Because he's saving God knows how much money a year. And I have to fork it out, that 80 euro a month. The same as other people. I'm sure you and everybody else has to do the same. Or give or take 40, maybe 40 or 50 or depending on how much. But you get what I'm saying. It's not fair on the only Joe for people to go out and do that and cost the taxpayers loads more. As I say, last year alone in Cavan, to clean up a League of Dublin, that's not even counting the whole lot of it. It was 1.5 million. So that's 1.5 million away from the taxpayer and from the state and from the local authority. Basically, that could go into nice projects, community projects, could go into this, the Bowtober Railway, that 1.5 million to make it operational, to do it up, to do anything with. But basically, these people think only of themselves. And the public have to fund their laziness and stupidity, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because there is a lot of money, 1.5 million, and it's going to probably be around that this year again. Because that's usually what it is every year. Just to clean it up and get rid of people's rubbish. It's not really fair, if you ask me. Anyway, I could go on for hours, but the only reason why I keep going on because I see it every day. Like I see it every day. That's the only reason why, and I know a lot about it, basically. And it's something that's not talked about a lot because there's no will to really sort it. There's no will to enforce it. And as I said before, many times before, the basic laws in society, the big law in society focuses littering, obviously, and illegal dumping and even the dog fowl and things. That's just the basic, simple law, what you don't do to your community, to society. That's just the basic function of the law, basically. These small laws that should be easily enforced, should be enforced. And when you see them not being enforced and just basically just a laughing stock, these kind of laws that we have at the moment, the other laws in society, rapes, murders, etc., are going to be, you're not going to, they're going to falter too. And that's what's happening. The basic laws in society faltering. And that's the problem. The basic law and order, basically. That's the way I would put it. Because these are supposed to be the bread and butter of the law. Let's put it that way. The basic day-to-day law, basically. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense to me. But that they are not working. So the other laws that are serious offences, like there's serious offences for illegal dumping, etc., because people literally doing it every day of the week, and for the last 20 years, and you add up how much the taxpayer had to pay to get rid of all that rubbish. We had a good few thousand. Let's put that way. Now, so the Leaving Cert came out yesterday. So 900 students in Cavan got the Leaving Cert. So a lot of people done very, very well. Leaving Cert applied. The thing about Leaving Cert applied program, there's a lot of people doing it. When I done Leaving Cert applied, not many people done it, but it's good to see that loads of people doing very well and people very happy with it. But I still stand by it, and I said it all the time, and even in Finland they do it. We shouldn't have exams. We shouldn't have a Leaving Cert. We shouldn't have a Junior Cert. In Finland, they don't do exam-based studies because I do think there's too much pressure on young people to do with this Leaving Cert and Junior Cert exams. Like it's the be-all and end-all in life. If you don't do well, your life's ruined. You're a loser, etc. And that's not the case. And I do think it prevents people. It holds people back in a way. Because it's all about grades. It's all about this and that and the other. Well, Leaving Cert applied. It is another type of the juniors, like the Leaving Cert. But it's about continuous study throughout the year, your projects you do, etc. A lot more easygoing, a lot more, day-to-day basics in school when you attend school, compared to just the Leaving Cert where, it's just a lot of confuckery, basically, to put it straight. Because again, number 40 is just a confuckery anyway. But long story short, we should abolish the Leaving Cert, abolish the Junior Cert. We need to have a better day-to-day assessment of students. I think that's the best way to have it, what they do in Finland. That you have basic study, like you study every day in school, etc. I think that's the best way. Because there's just too much about pints and all that, and there's too much pressure put on people. And at the end of the day, what the fuck pints does matter? What the fuck does it matter? Because people in Finland achieve better and stuff like that. And I do believe that I've seen it literally for myself when I was over there too. There's a lot less stressful for young people, etc. And life is stressed for young people nowadays with social media, etc. It's a different world than when a lot of people grew up in it. But basically, these Leaving Cert and Junior Cert, back in the day, they were probably accepted, but not so much nowadays. Nowadays, it should be life skills, because that's what people need: life skills, how to cope, etc. Because at the moment, it's just all bullshit. But it's straight here. We do have to look at it because we're 50 years behind the Finnish education system. And I do think we should base ourselves off the Finnish education system, because I do think it is the best education system for people to succeed and people to achieve things. In this country, it's just fucking people over, basically. The usual kind of carry on. So you have very strong opinions of things. But I've said this for years. The Leaving Cert and Junior Cert got rid of. It's just no good, no addition. So obviously election coming up, basically. Who would be surprised? Here's money. Here's money. The election's coming. Here's €250,000. So there's projects in Beltober, Cavan Town, Valley Gym stuff, etc. So you can see here, Baby and Cavan gets 50,000. Loads of development about different things. But long story short, it's funny how, like in the last year, there's just been money fired at people, basically. There's money going everywhere, basically, to put it straight. Just for people to vote Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. That's what the hope. Because you hear all the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael councillors talking about, we got this, we done it for this part of Cavan, we got all this money, not so much the council the TDs at the moment. They're like, yeah, we got all this money. You have to vote Fianna Gael, and we fuck you over again. And then maybe the next election we give you crumpets, because that's basically what it is. It's crumpets before the election, and then after the election they're going to fuck us over again, basically. To put it straight to you, because because there's just money going everywhere. Like this project coming out, there's this money for that project, the other project. I never heard so much about money being given this project and that project. And then when a few people, when I was talking about the community scheme, I went looking for money last year for them, for a new lawnmower, a new strimmer, etc., etc. And it was only about 1,000, maybe at most 2,000, not too much. And it could last they could last maybe 10 years. And there was no money for that. There was no money for that. But there was money for this, basically. There's money all for this. There's no such thing as money for that, But maybe if I went now, there's money for that, because the election's coming up. Just to put it straight. Yeah, like I do think the basic skills in life should be taught. Like the start of teaching home economics in secondary school, which I do agree with. People should know how to cook a bit. I know how to cook a bit, but it couldn't be a chef or something like that. But the basic things in life, how to manage even your finances, even though it's a shit thing, finances, etc., etc. But just the basic things and how to cope with stressful situations. I think that's important. I'm getting worse than standards, and I think. But I genuinely do think it's important, because the Irish education system is just it's long past its overdue date. Basically, we need to kind of be more forward thinking. I know the word economic foam tone, but it is just hundreds of years behind basically other countries. Basically, like, as I say about Finland, a great education system, really, really good. It's really, really good, because they focus on instead of exams, because exams only tell you for a few days what. It's not the be all and end all, basically. And I do think that's the most important thing. And I do think it. I don't think exams really tell the whole picture of somebody, basically, and shouldn't tell the whole picture of somebody. Especially because the leaving cert is it's outdated. It's just far outdated. To be told, so going to the United States now. So Robert F. Kennedy. Is endorsing that. So basically dropped out of the race. The United States president. He was one as an independent. I forgot my tea. And he's going to endorse Donald Trump. Now, so the CIA won't be very happy. So Donald Trump basically pledged here, and we see will he do it or not, to release it, because they still classified documents relating to the JFK assassination 60 years ago in 1963, and they still all haven't been released. So the CIA is very unhappy at the moment that they could be released, because they might be. Because why did they hold them for so long? What did they have to hide? Why have they not shown to the American people if they've nothing to hide? Because we all know there's something that the CIA was involved with in the JFK assassination. We all know it, that the United States government played a role in the JFK assassination. We all know it. And the fact that too, that Robert F. Kennedy could be what I could think. He's definitely going to get a job in the Trump administration if they do get elected. But what I think could happen, which could just go drive the whole media industrial complex mad, is that Robert F. Kennedy be appointed director of the CIA, which would be quite a twist of fate. But that could happen. But again, long story short, when these documents, if Donald Trump does get released, get into the presidency, definitely there's some shocking stuff there. But we already know about this. The CIA did have a role to play in it, that the CIA orchestrated it, because it's definitely 100% true that if they had nothing to hide, they would have just put them out there long ago. But the fact that they kept them classified for so long, when literally the people involved, majority of people involved in the JFK assassination, the people who were there, the family that was there at the time, they were all dead, basically, a long time ago. Majority of them. And the majority of people involved are dead now, basically. It's about time people know the truth comes out, and the public are told what really, really happened. But again, we see what happens. But hopefully, it does happen, because people want to know, and people want answers. Back again. Yeah, but they're all taking money from Israel. There's just money from every part of Israel. But I suppose what do you expect? But I probably shouldn't take that comment any further. But so we'll talk about this too. I've said before about the Taliban and the heinous crimes, etc., etc. So we see what they're doing now at the moment to women, and this is really oppressive too. And again, Joe Biden's the person to blame for this. This carry on was allowed to happen because the United States, and people don't talk about nowadays what happened in Afghanistan, but the United States gives Afghanistan billions to rebuild the country and etc. So arm the Afghanistan army, gives them hundreds of billions of euro war equipment, etc. And they all fell within a week. The whole Afghanistan National Army fell within a week to the Taliban after the Americans leaving. The biggest failure of probably modern times military strategy. And you see the consequences to this. So, I do feel very, very sorry for these women because at the end of the day, people are entitled to their opinion. People are entitled to express their views. And regardless of what part of the world, that's I believe in, that people should be allowed to speak freely, etc. Shouldn't have to wear shawls and should be allowed to go to school because education is power, and that's the way I've seen it. Majority of dictatorships around the world, etc., etc., you've seen time and time and time again that they don't want people to learn things. They don't want people to educate themselves. We've seen it in South Russia, take for example. They didn't want people to go to school. We've seen it in the Soviet Union where they were indoctrinated at school. They didn't want people to learn outside the system of their system, even in communist China nowadays. That their history books are right, etc. So people should be allowed to, women particularly, obviously in the Taliban, in the Taliban control Afghanistan, should be allowed to go to school, and it's something that a lot of young people over here take for granted too. A lot of people, even myself when I was younger too. Why do I have to go to school, etc., etc.? It's useless. But at the end of the day, a lot of people in the world do have that luxury. They do have a choice. They're forced to stay at home. They're forced to do this. They're forced to do that. As you see here, in public figure, it's basically just silencing one part of society, and it's just not acceptable. And especially when you hear all the feminists over in Ireland, they're saying, "Oh, anti-women, etc., etc." But there's not a peep about this. You don't hear. There's no word at all about it. There's no women's protest saying we need to do this and we need to do that. There's no such thing. It's deaf silence. But long story short, the Taliban, we all knew they would do this when they took power. But it's very sad to see this in the 24th century, that this still carry on, still happens. Because as I say, it shouldn't be tolerated that this still happens in the modern world. But yeah, well, I wouldn't blame people like were young women. That's I do. Whatever, but young men. You remember you seen the video? I think I talked about it. He's in Afghanistan army. He came to Ireland. He left his wife and children in Afghanistan, and he came like a young man, about 30, left his wife and children to come to Ireland to get a free house and everything. And I'm just like, excuse me, you left your wife and children in a Taliban control area. Excuse me, and you say you're fleeing war as a man. Whatever, if that was me, I'd rather my wife and children be evacuated to Ireland. They probably would genuinely have cause because they are being oppressed. It is, that's under the United Nations Federation that the women are being suppressed, etc. So it is true. That's not to state the obvious in Afghanistan. That's true. It's not like somebody from Algeria turning up and saying I'm being oppressed in Algeria or there's a war in Algeria. Um, you know, Yeah, like there's a lot of people we let in that don't have any grounds. That man had no really grounds to be let into the country. What I'm trying to say, his wife and children had more grounds than him to come in, basically. Especially being being a young man from used to fight against was in the Afghanistan army basically, and they collapsed and he fled and left his wife and children. Especially when you see these laws that the Taliban have passed, you think he would rather stay and let his wife and children come to Ireland, but you know again, that's not trying to say the women and the young women and stuff like that have more grounds to be probably let into the country, to this country, than people from young men from Georgia and Albania, etc., etc. Because what are they fleeing in Albania, and what are they fleeing in Georgia? Please explain, somebody. That's what I want to know. please, Minister for Justice, if you can explain that. I wouldn't mind so much Afghanistan because you see they are being suppressed, and especially in because I'm a firm believer in democracy, and I do think the right of every person on the planet is that you have a right to education, regardless if you're a woman or man. You have the right to educate yourself, to think freely, etc., etc. I do think in the Taliban that's what's happened. People are being suppressed. But your man shouldn't be here. It should be women and children, obviously. But what I'm trying to say in the particular incident, why is he here and his wife and children are left in Afghanistan? Because that's what I'm trying to say. I'm sure everyone already knows the video I'm talking about. Him saying I'm getting a free house and getting this and getting that from the government, and it's insane. But that's just basically me. I would have wanted my wife and children be brought over to Ireland. Him, it doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the world nowadays. But basically, the long story short of the Taliban taking power, it's the United States government's fault for the Taliban taking back power in Afghanistan. Because we see the amount of millions and trillions, like quite literally trillions, that were given to the Afghanistan army, and it just collapsed with all in a week. It's insane. After the United States being there for 30 years, and so many people lost their lives, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to say is, it's sad to see that still happening in the world, basically. This, I don't know what you call it, but excuse me. So obviously, sorry, I'm dying. So as I said in my video the other night, about teacher shortage, about lack of investment, etc., etc. This is basically what I said, basically, Grit Media said too, and it's the truth. She's more worried about people using their mobile phones instead of literally getting the teachers to teach the kids and getting them to school on a bus. And she's more worried about mobile phones. So it just goes to show you, as I said before, this woman shouldn't let run a fucking pigstag, letting alone an education system. And definitely, she's the worst minister for education. Now, there's been a few fair bad ministers for education, but this one takes the biscuit. Because, I'm more worried if I was the minister for education, getting the teachers to school, then the children to school, and then getting the teachers to teach the children, instead of worrying about a few, teenagers in the mobile phones to school. Her priorities are arseways around. The phone problem is up here. The teachers, no teachers in the school is way down there, and the children that can't get to school is way down there. But the phone problem, that's the top thing. We can't be doing that, But it's normal folly. What they expect, basically. We all know it. This is the type of lunatic she is. I don't know who in Kerry, point to the fellow that's going to vote normal folly in Kerry, because I think that fellow needs to be locked up, to be done. I know democracy, we have to protect democracy, etc., etc. But whoever votes this one back into power, I hate to say it to you, but the West has fallen, if that's the case. But long story short, typical normal folly. We're more worried. Children can't even get to school, but let's worry, but they're not bringing phones to school. It's insane shit. It's genuinely insane. Yeah, it's genuinely insane. Children can't even get to school on the bus, etc., etc. And there's hundreds of cases like that. Not to mention, there's no teachers to teach the children. They can't get teachers. They're getting literally unqualified teachers to teach the children because they can't find the teachers because they're not getting paid enough, basically. And they're all going off to Australia, etc. So let's not deal with that problem. Let's deal with the people bringing phones in the school. It's insane. It's insane why you're not addressing the elephant in the room and you're just going and go. It's insane. It's genuinely insane. And she was nowhere to be found for the last month, and she came out with this bullshit. It's normal Foley. Like, I suppose we couldn't like. She's a disaster. Like she generally must be advising the true Finns or something like that. Like that's who's literally the true Finns are talking to is Norma Foley because like she's just a disaster. I don't know how she still has her job, basically. Because last year, as I said, the start of the school transport scheme, where every child in the country was entitled to a free bus airing, free travel on bus airing to get to school. You didn't have to pay anything. But long story short, that turned into a disaster because there was not enough school buses. There was not loads of drivers retired and they didn't replace them, and it was just a big clusterfuck, basically. And Norma Foley was the one, and to be totally honest, they should have probably lost the job then and there because it was just the biggest disaster imaginable. She probably should lose her job anyway because the leaving cert in 2021 when I was there, it didn't go too well either. But long story short, then obviously trying to teach people young children how to masturbate in school and stuff. That's another thing that probably she shouldn't be there, and she probably should be investigated for them kind of things. Wanting that to happen and people to change their gender at literally 5 years old. Like literally, Norma Foley would probably be supportive for that because literally that's what she wants. We've seen documents in the National Children's Council, etc., what they want to teach children in primary school. And it's basically paedophilia, to be totally honest, to put it straight to you. And no Minister of Education should be doing that to primary school teachers, the primary school children, to try and bring that in, which they will bring in if they got away with it. But they know that people wouldn't tolerate it and they shouldn't tolerate it. But yeah, long story short, not a repeat for Norma Foley saying this is disgusting, that wages. Whoever does this, we need to lock them up. But long story short, just nod the head and say yes. Basically, that's what Norma Foley wants. My throat is dying. The West has fallen. The one thing, just off a different topic now, but the one thing many people said, you can tell when I have a strong opinion on something, because I generally don't shut my fucking mouth. Excuse my language, but you can generally see it because literally my throat goes because I talk that much about it because I'm that passionate about different things. Well, I mean, so this this yoke, I don't know how. I generally don't know how. But long story short, Michael Collins wouldn't be. I don't think Michael Collins would be very fond of him. Or Micheál Martin the year before. We don't want a backwards looking idea of sovereignty. Micheál Martin famously said, at the grave of Michael Collins, that literally fought for Ireland's sovereignty and Ireland's freedom. And we want nothing to do with a backwards looking idea of sovereignty. Not this fellow, but the other Queen. But long story short, this fellow's not much better, is he? So I don't know what Michael Collins would say about these Gombeans the last few years. I generally don't know. I would not want to see what he had to say about them if he was alive today. But long story short, I don't think he should be anywhere near it. Basically, long story short, because I think if Michael Collins was there today, he would say, I would rather be buried in Timbuktu than have this fellow and the other fellow before him and the other fellow before him go to my gravesite. I think I'd rather be buried in Timbuktu than that. To be totally honest, I'd rather be buried in Timbuktu than have this fellow come to my graveyard, come to my resting place. To be totally honest with you. Yeah, but there's no teachers now. The majority of teachers are going away. All the teachers I used to have in school, in primary school, have left. Gone. All the young teachers have gone. They're not here. Yeah. But yeah, so RT is coming out with this bullshit. So basically, they're crying about why is people so like Michael Collins and why they don't like Tom Martin or Simon Harris. Basically, they're just kind of like these journalists are saying, why do so many people like Michael Collins? He wanted the free independent Ireland. This is disgraceful. That's more or less what RT are saying here. They're saying we want Micheál Martin to be the most liked fellow in history because he wants nothing to do with the backwards looking idea of sovereignty. Because you can kind of tell by reading in between the lines here of this journalist, the OT particularly, they don't like anything to do with Irish history. They hate Irish history. They hate Ireland. You can kind of tell when you read in between the lines, these people are just like these people of the past. Why does people so much like Michael Collins? They should like Michael Martin. He doesn't want anything to do with the backwards looking idea of sovereignty, and we're fully committed to the idea of the European Union. We should be putting him on a pedestal. But yeah, because you kind of by the way of phrasing it, that they're not too fond of, they're not too fond of people looking up to revolutionary heroes, people who fought for independence and sovereignty. Particularly that word, they hate the word sovereignty. Particularly the media and the politicians in this country, they hate that word sovereignty. They hate it. They hate that. They hate that with a passion. And like, if they generally got away with the Irish government, because let's put it this way: the people of the past, Michael Collins, even Damon Devlin to some extent, the people like James Connolly, Patrick Peels, etc., Joseph Plunkett, there's no men like that nowadays. There's no leaders like that nowadays. The Genoese and Countess Mautrifix too. There's nobody like that nowadays in modern Ireland. There's nobody that is that committed to solving the state, to preserve the state, to try and portray Irishness, etc., etc. There's nothing like that. We'll just have globalist elite who don't care, who are elected by the world, really are just World Economic Forum shills. They don't care about Ireland's sovereignty. Micheál Martin basically said it straight out. They don't care. They don't want to backwards looking at the sovereignty. Like, these are the people of modern Ireland. These are the heroes. These are supposed to be the next generation of revolutionaries who's supposed to lead Ireland into the future. I don't know that, Chief, but I think it would rather get the past back than the future, because at the moment in time we have very weak leaders who don't like Ireland, don't want anything to do with Ireland. They want to sell us away as much as possible. They've sold us away time and time again. The modern leaders of the world, the modern leaders of Ireland, may I say. The people of the Michael Collins, like, for example, would be thrown in his grave. Basically, what I'm trying to say, they would be all thrown in a grave if they seen the Ireland they fought for, and the vision they had for Ireland just basically combust into a million pieces. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So basically, yeah, yeah. But you kind of get what I'm saying when I'm talking about that. We talk about that in a second. Give me a moment, sorry, Evan. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry for that. Back again. Let me see. Actually, where did I put that? Go. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just looking for a book there. I didn't know where I put it. Where was I? Sorry, my throat is gone. From all the talking. See, that's what happens when I get passionate about something. I just don't shut up. What is this now? Oh yeah. So, as we're talking, you probably heard me many times talk about the birth rate decreasing, etc., etc. So this is an article. So 40% of women estimated to be single and childless by 2030. So we're getting there, basically. And this is the truth. There's a lot of women who are just not in relationships, etc. So same with a lot of men too. I suppose including myself. But and childless. So this is a huge problem when you see this, because at the end of the day, regardless of how, like, the majority of people who say trust the science say men can get pregnant. I don't know about that, Chief, but last time I read a science book, only women can get pregnant. No such thing as a man getting pregnant. Like, in their own delusional mind, you can be delusional as much as you want, but let's be fair, women are the only human species that can get pregnant. What I mean by that, there's only a man and a woman. I know, very controversial, but long story short, a woman can only give birth, a man can't. Because I know there's some lunatics, now we're not lunatics, but delusional people in the world that think men can get pregnant. I don't know what to say to you, but trust the science, maybe. But long story short, this is true. Basically, this is what's happening in the world today. Sorry for that. And just getting why I'm not speaking, I suppose I'm trying not to speak as much now because my throat is like jazz. Not, I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind it, but I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it. If that makes sense. Speaking about so this bastard, as you can see here, he's not going to spend the day in prison because the prison are overcrowded. So this I don't know really what to call him, but he's a disgrace. Should be sent to prison. The fact that he's basically just lets go free. It just goes to show you this is modern day Britain. But if you dare call somebody, if you dare misgender somebody, you'd be locked up for months. But if you do this crime, you get off with it. Basically, it's just not acceptable because literally they would move heaven and earth if somebody, if this was a different situation, he misgendered somebody. By God, the whole prison system be opened up. There's literally would let out every crazy fellow in the country to get this fellow if he misgendered somebody. But what I'm trying to say, this fellow should have went to prison for an awfully long time and never seen the light of day for a long, long time to come. But basically, this is Britain nowadays. Not on. This is Britain, just to say. And this is what the West is now. So I suppose I take a bit of reader for a second. How does that sound? Just to give myself a bit of some throat and get back. So any other fun with anybody? Any other crack? There's bigger mugs. There's far bigger mugs I have. This is only a small mug compared to the mugs I have. Sorry, but just give me a minute just to get me choked. Because see, when I don't shut my mouth, this is what happens. You can tell I'm a horse. The way I talk and can barely talk. Yeah, well, I don't have any of that with me, unfortunately. I say I continue on and I'll be fine, Joe. If I lose my voice, about time I shut for a second. But anyway, on to the next. Like this is definitely going to drain my voice. Let's put with this next bit. Like I left it last, But basically, as you see here, next the 11th of September 2025, like literally the best book in history is coming out. Like so this time, not this time, in a few weeks' time. The 11th, you have to write this down now. The 11th of September 2025, this book's coming out. It's going to be 332 pages, 30 pages, excuse me. Now, I'm literally going to die when I have to read this book. So I'm going to order 3 or 4 copies anyway, definitely. But long story short, this is an awful lot of pages to read. But yeah, it's not too bad. I thought it would be. It's only €30. I thought it would be €50. Like literally, this book's of what was it? Liz Truss's book. It's something like €50, €60. Liz Truss, and like Santa is being very generous here and just saying to people, "Oh, €30 too." And Liz Truss was like, I want 60 euro. I want 60 euro for my book. So in fairness to Sana, she's doing a good value here. For 320 pages, she's doing good value for 20 euro. Because it's going to take me to 2027 or so by the time I read through it all. But this is going to be the biggest book of the year. So basically, what I'm trying to say to people: pre-order this, get it where it stocks last. Because it would be it'd be pretty funny just to see, because we know a bit more about what because there's some things she doesn't talk about, so she might put in her book basically. So there'll be a lot of questions might be answered, that a lot of people have about different things. So yes, yeah. So yeah, that's it. So there's no cover yet, so we have to see what the cover is going to be too. But it's a long way off still at the same time. Your wife, excuse me. Not even to mention to just even getting married. It's an insane amount of money. Like I've seen online though, it would be give or take, it would be probably 70,000, 80,000 to have a wedding nowadays. Something like that. Like it's insane. Like to have a wedding function and stuff like that. I'm going, it's an insane amount of money. The tea sock, yeah. The tea sock, the Irish tea sock. I know, I don't know particularly the fellow you're talking about. I don't know. I might have actually heard something about it. But I know about the Irish tea sock, but I want to just check and see how much Liz Truss's book is, because we can give out a bit about Liz Truss. Because there is generally no way somebody would pay 60 to 50 euros for. No, I probably wouldn't know it if he's a Labour Party. I tried to talk about a Conservative MP. Wasn't the Conservative MP said something similar to that at one stage? Like, there is no way somebody would pay 60 euro for a book of Liz Truss. Like, that's what the West has fallen. So Liz Truss's book has 256 pages. So there's not much to write about Liz Truss. That's why she only was there for about 10 minutes. How much is that the book? I know I'm not taking a bite, but just what the. Yeah, it seems that Liz Truss is looking for 40 euro for her book. It seems to be. So that's great. Liz Truss is looking for 40 euro. Imagine that. At least Santa's being very generous. Yeah, but Matt Hancock is a bit of a threat. Excuse my language, unparliamentary language. But long story short, so we're going to talk about Finnish politics, so we're happy now. But long story short, so this kind of now I know everyone only is going to point out this, but long story short, so the Prime Minister of Finland, this is him here. Now, this is a very good picture of how everybody thinks of the current government in Finland. Like nobody, like you can see, this man's not really that enthusiastic to be talking to. But you can see this fellow over here is not like there's basically nobody around him. Nobody really wants to talk to him. Basically, long story short, I thought it's pretty funny because literally nobody's around him. Like he's in a public market, nobody literally wants to go near him. Basically, it just goes to show you what the Finnish people think of the current government. Because you can tell this fellow doesn't really want to talk to him. You can tell this fellow over here just doesn't give a shit about him. And then you compare this to Lai Anderson. I know the left spots, but you can look at this. They're a big do. It's insane to see the kind I know everyone is going to put out more on this picture, but But long story short, at least people are, there's only one MP here and stuff like that. But long story short, there's quite a difference compared to the other picture. What I'm trying to say. Because even just his body language too, he doesn't look that enthusiastic. Because let's put it this way: the only business owner in Finland's getting fucked over by this fellow, and by the Finns particularly. Not many people be too happy to talk to this fellow. But long story short, you can really tell the difference. But basically, because nobody really cares. But I don't know. I don't know whether I think it was just some kind of coffee morning thing that he went to. But in fact, you can see the difference. But you can see the difference between the current Finnish government, and the former, like Anderson, obviously be one of the leaders of the Left Alliance in the former government. You can kind of see the people want to talk to him, CEO, etc., etc. Not so much here, like literally not even one person beside him. Like literally nobody should be found. Like not a big crowd around. Like even when she was there, there was a big crowd of people talking to her, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say is, it just goes to show you how out of touch they are. Because the reason why, because they went to a market, the Prime Minister, the other day, and there was obviously folders, etc., etc. And put these up on social media. There was other photos and stuff like that, but they didn't put them up because nobody really wanted to talk to them. That's the butter straight. Nobody really talked to them. We went to the market. There was other people there. Some people just outright ignored them and just didn't talk to them. Like nobody talked. Like see, literally not even anybody there. You think as a prime minister, people will want to get selfies, talk to them, etc. etc. Literally nobody. Like nobody wanted. People just literally ignored them. That's just this picture tells a lot, especially just the body language too. It's really off. I know I'm looking into it a bit more, but sponsored by the Left Alliance. Now, so this was the other day. So this lunatic. So the church, so the price of funeral in Finland is going to rise above 400. So it's about 500 or so for a funeral in Finland now. The reason why you're probably saying, because I had to look into it myself. So the church in Finland, the main Catholic, like the Orthodox, not Orthodox, what they call it, Presbyterian. That's what they call it over there. They are giving loads of food and loads of clothes to Finnish citizens, etc., etc. As people are struggling to meet the basic costs of food, etc., etc. So that's why the church has to raise the price of funeral, because the church is. This is the funniest thing. Well, not the funniest thing, but the most serious thing when things are bad, down bad. That literally the church, like the church itself, is feeding more people and clothing more people than the state, the government in Finland at the moment. Basically, people are getting more help from the church than they are from the government. Basically. And that just tells you all you need to know right there. That literally the church, charities and stuff have to help people more than the government. And not to mention that the true Finns and the Swedish Democrats are literally in open arguments. Like there's literally hands being thrown at some stage with them because it's that bad. And also there's a neo-Nazi group going around with fucking pipe bombs and grenades and stuff like that, threatening to blow up people. And the only reason why this has started, because the reason why, because the moment the government in Finland at the moment is a very weak government. They don't have the balls basically, and very unstable. Like it's a miracle how the government hasn't collapsed. But basically, this is why you don't have unstable governments, because it's basically just like quite literally this group is why it isn't up, and it's literally going around with pipe bombs and stuff like that. So the government in Finland are doing great work. Yeah, it was more like Protestantism, basically. Yeah, it's more like Protestants. That's what they call it over there, Lutheran. If that makes any sense. Truly finished. But it should be truly finished. There should be literally. There shouldn't be still in government. Yeah, because let's put it this: only for the church and charities and stuff like that at the moment. The Finnish government are giving nobody any hope. Basically, they're just not helping anybody because it's just time to cut. Like the Orthodox Church, there's an Finnish Orthodox. It's mostly Lutheran and then Orthodox, as you see. You know, but it's more like in our words, in Protestantism, basically. So this Queen, she was on the national broadcasting in Finland, basically. So basically, they're trying to say there was 8,000 jobs. Basically, long story short, it's not bussing. Like she's saying, it's the 8,000 jobs are coming the next few months. It's not bussing. To put it straight, the numbers are pretty bad. So the biggest number of businesses, etc., are going bankrupt and closing down. There's more people than ever nearly before in Finland unemployed. So basically, they're talking absolute bullshit. Because literally, at the moment in time, for this month, there'll be only about maybe 1,000, 2,000 jobs added across the whole country of Finland, because it's generally that bad that literally there's no jobs for anybody because businesses can't employ people because the taxes are so high. So everything's it's just that bad, basically, because the unemployment figures. I don't know how they've done it, but they've done it. Like it's worse than the last month. Basically, the employment figures are getting worse. They're not getting any better. They're getting worse, and they're saying there was going to be 100,000 jobs added to the Finnish economy this year, even though the numbers are literally keep going down, basically. So everything's just fucked, basically. No, the kind of the Finnish Orthodox. No, it wouldn't really have Russian influence. They wouldn't really have anything to do. Obviously, back in the day, it was kind of Russian Orthodox. Nowadays, it's kind of its own thing, basically. Like they want nothing to do with Russia. If that makes any sense. If that makes any sense, though. So yeah, this was an interview too. I would like to talk about Social Security cuts now, but about growth. So this is the interview. So the interviewer was asking this Minister for Finance, the Minister for Sitters. I would like to talk about the Social Security cuts because they are huge cuts. 50% cuts in the child benefit and stuff like that, and for people on disabilities, etc., and sickness and stuff, like huge cuts, absolutely enormous cuts. Like there's people before who are on job seekers, take for example in Finland, they were maybe getting €400 a week or so. At the moment in time, they'll get basically only getting about 150. So it's huge cuts, tremendous big cuts, basically. But basically, she's saying, I want to talk about growth. The only thing that really is growing, this is the thing. The only thing that's growing is the debt and the amount of people being unemployed and people going out of business. That's what's growth. That's the growth in Finland at the moment. Like literally everything else is in the toilet, basically. Like it's just generally that bad. Yeah, it's just insane because there's no growth at all, only in employment figures, etc. Like it's just literally a train wreck. It's not that. So and then they turn around and do this. So one of the ministers in the Finns went off to the Caribbean. They say the country's going to fuck. Time to go. We have no money, but it's not time to cut apparently here. But long story short, they went over to the Caribbean and were like, Finland's a great country. We're not bankrupt or anything like that. On a PR trip, and the Finnish taxpayer has to pay this. For them, literally, to go over and say to them in the Caribbean, "Oh, Finland's not bankrupt. We're a great country. Good for investment and stuff like that." And basically, they went over there, and this minister spent €10,000. So the West has fallen, basically, because I don't know what kind of insane lunatic thought this was a good idea, but it went down like a pack of cement, basically, because people are not very happy about it, and it's fair to say this fellow is going to lose his job now because people are gunning for him, because people are not happy, because there's money for that. There's no money for anything else, but there's money for this. It's just like the Irish government. Like it's insane. So I do agree, and I know only posted lefty and stuff like that, but I do agree with them. Like on this, the government has failed. Like their economic policy has failed. like everything about the current Finnish government, the true Finns, etc., the West has fallen, like Finland has fallen at the moment. Let's put it that way, because it's just insane. Like it's the definition of insanity what the Finnish government are doing at the moment. Like it has failed exponentially. Like I don't know how they've went from when Sanna Marin was in government. They had high employment. Like there was loads of people everybody nearly had jobs. There was more jobs than people could take basically. And all of a sudden now they're the second worst in the European Union. I don't know how they went from that in 400 and something days. I don't know how they did it basically. Like it has failed. Like their economic plan is just completely just fucked everybody over. So I do agree with that. It's just plain and obvious that it literally has been, like I would generally say, has been the worst, apart from Liz Truss, economic plan ever in European history, in the European Union. It's generally been the worst. I know Ireland is up there, but I generally don't know what they were trying to achieve. Because it's generally insane how bad the fuck things over, basically. Like it's. I don't know how they did it, but basically, it's insane. Hello, Sean. Modern Sweden, but no, it's insane. Like it is a far right government, especially now at the moment. As I said to you before, they limited the people's right to strike, etc., etc. Now they're talking about banning freedom of assembly. So basically, it is literally extreme right government. Basically, like it's going into a totalitarian regime. Basically. That's what they're trying to do, basically. That is quite literally what they're trying to do. Because what they like, I don't know what they're trying to do, but it's something like that. Because the truth, really, this is something. All in Finnish. I had it in English earlier on. Let me see. I might get up. But no, but this is a good this is a good explanation. So the government minister for the True Finns and the National Coalition Party won the election when Sanna Marin lost the election by promising to fix the economy and stop the debt. Basically, that's the main promise they had at the election when Sanna Marin lost their job. There was just to say too, evictions for the first time literally since the 60s in Finland. There's more evictions happening than ever. Like never before this was an issue. I know in Ireland we probably would laugh at that, but literally there's more evictions than there ever were in the history of Finland. Like it's insane how bad it is. The unemployment has literally increased 54. It's like it's increased, and the debt has increased by exponentially. Basically, it's insane that they promised to get rid of the debt, and everything has gone up. And just to add to that, there's other problems too because of how bad they fucked everything up. But long story short, this is it is just generally a complete disaster, basically, at the highest level. Because again, this was never an issue for the last 60 years in Finland. There was never anything like this, like evictions. There was never such thing. In Ireland, it always happened, but never such a thing in Finland. Because the housing support for people who are vulnerable, etc. So they cut it by 60%. It's insane, basically. How bad the fuck people over. And not even just you might be taking the asylum seekers or into that. It's the only Finns on this, the only Finns that fucked over completely. So it's insane they call themselves true Finns and literally fuck over everybody that's Finnish. Basically, I don't know what they're trying to achieve, but everything is basically fucked, basically, in every conceivable way. But I don't know what they're trying to achieve because it's just literally trying to cut everything. Even though I guess again this is the thing, they cut 9 billion. Listen to this: they cut 9 billion in public spend, 9 billion euro, nearly 10 billion. They're talking about cutting another 5 billion to 15 billion euro in public services. This is the thing: they've cut that, and the debt has still increased basically, and all the suffering. Basically, the debt it made no difference, 0.5% of a difference. So all this suffering, etc., has made literally no difference to the debt. So basically, the whole economic policy, just let's cut everything to the bone and let everybody starve. It's just not working. Basically, shock horror, but they're literally insane at the moment what they're trying to do. Like it's the general. No, it's insane. Like it is generally insane. Considering again, convictions never were a thing in Finland, and this is the first time ever. It's literally becoming a thing that people are literally being evicted from their homes because they had so many laws in Finland in the past to make sure people were housed, etc., and that's all demolished, basically, like gone. Everything's gone. Like the whole structure's just gone. Because again, housing support, the way there's housing support here for people, to get allowances and stuff like that. They used to be very generous. They used to be extremely generous. So that made sure nobody would go homeless, basically. No Finnish person would be homeless on the street. Basically, that's all gone out the window because they've cut it by 70%. Like, they've literally demolished it. And not to mention other services, they just demolished it. Like, they literally just demolished it with huge cuts. Like, eye-watering to see how much cuts they've done. And basically, the long story short, the whole sadness about it is, all of this, was to try and get rid of the debt. But the debt has gone up by more than they did before. So it didn't, basically, it's all for nothing. So basically, there's more people suffering than there was before. And the debt has increased 20 folds. And it continues to increase. So I don't know what kind of economics. And this year, just to say too, Sanna Marin was in office that had 20 billion extra left over, the way after the budget of 20 billion. In Finland, the moment this year, they're going to have 12 billion negative. So they're going to be in the negative amount of money. They won't have any money left over, basically. So I don't know how they've done that. I don't know how they've done it in less than a year, but it's generally very impressive. Considering they cut 9 billion and they're talking about cutting 15 billion in public services. Like, they literally talk about just abolishing half the fucking everything. Like, they're literally abolishing everything. Like, they're talking about getting rid of more nurses and stuff like that in the hospital. So basically, they're going to just collapse the whole health service in Finland too. I genuinely want to know who's advising, because I genuinely think it's normal Foley, because it hasn't worked. So I don't know why I continuously, they're just insane. Particularly the true leader, the true Finns. She's just wanting to cut everything. It's insane. That's insane. But even if it was like, say, the Ireland Force got in here and done all this, like, say for example, I still would say it regardless of where it is, because it's just the most ludicrous thing I ever heard in my life what they're doing in Finland. Because literally, take for example workers' rights. I know it sounds like such a lefty at the moment, but to put it in perspective, people who like the big companies, the employer has more rights than the person, the worker, basically at the moment. And it's insane. It's just genuine insane. They can fire you they don't need a reason now to fire you. And you can't strike, you can't complain. It's just literally like the 1984, basically. That you can't literally strike. You can't. The government can tell you when you can strike. Because they've literally passed that. You can't literally go out and strike. Because everybody was going to go out and strike. So they've literally passed that. And now they want to go after freedom of assembly. And then eventually freedom of speech. Because that's what's literally happening in Finland. That's literally what's happening. Literally, it's a totalitarian regime, basically. Because it is the truth. Like at the moment, what they're trying to pursue is this. Like, it is just plain and simple. Because they're trying to pass this bill to declare any protest at the government and send in the army or the police to shut it down. So this is literally 1930 style, basically. So that's what they're going to try, and that's what they're trying to bring in. They're hoping to bring in, and already with the strike law and then other things they've brought in, it's just they literally want to be dictators, basically. Like, it is literally the most. I don't really know what to describe, but it's insane what they're trying to do. But considering, because again, the point of the matter is, the Finland used to have the best workers' rights laws, etc., etc., and now that's all kind of in the toilet, basically. So that's literally what's happening, basically. That it's literally going to become an authoritarian state. It's insane. Like, quite literally, because there's no explanation, because they literally have banned strikes. The government can tell you when you strike now, basically. You can't strike yourself. Because everybody would be up in arms. Like, people are literally up in arms at the moment of Finland. Like, it's that bad now. People are literally up in arms. But like, these are supposed to be nationalists. It's so-called nationalists, the true Finns, etc. It's supposed to be the far right. Well, they literally are the far right because they've literally brought all this in. And they're making people suffer. Like, they said Sanna Marin was bad, but in fairness to Sanna Marin, there was no this incredible amount of suffering, basically. But at the moment there is, basically. So I don't know. They should have kept Sanna Marin around. Let's put it that way. I think everybody kind of can see they probably should have kept her around, because it's just all it's nonsensical stuff what they're doing. Particularly all these cuts, because at the end of the day, it's making no difference, because the deaths just continue to go regardless of what they do. And especially the fact too, just to put it in perspective too, one other thing. the other way countries take out loans, etc., for the European Bank, etc., etc. So they took out two big loans, the true Finns, hundreds of billions, just to say it. And guess what? The interest of the loan is very high because obviously you take the bigger the loan you take out, the more interest you have to pay, and the longer it takes to pay off. So they took them out and they completely fucked that too because they have a bigger loan to pay back to the European Union now. Nonsense compared to what the other government, Sanna Marin's government, took. They used to take small loans which were able to be paid off very quickly with little interest. So basically, I don't know what kind of economics they're playing at, but it's just not busting, because if that's the Nationalist Party, I don't know what to say about it. Because it's not even just the asylum seekers they're fucking over, in Finland. You'd be saying you probably should fuck over people that's not Finnish. They're fucking over the only Finn, basically. Like, these are the only Finns that are suffering like this. And along with this, like, nobody's turned up to Finland to seek asylum, basically, too. Like, last week, I think they said only about 100 and something people turned up to Finland to seek asylum. That's all they turned up to Finland. Because, again, basically, not. Like, nobody's going to turn up to a country like that now, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because it's literally that fucked up. Nobody's willing to go to, because it's just generally that fucked up, at the moment. Because why would you go to a country that literally is blowing itself up at the moment, like quite literally in a way? It's just insane. Give me a second. Just trying to find this thing. So I'm just looking for this specifically, just to mention. So, just to put in perspective more suffering and more shenanigans. So, long story short, cocaine, drugs, now that has gone up exponentially. It's at record levels. Never seen before, basically, in Finland. Because guess what they did? They want to have a guess what they did. They want to have a guess what they did. Have a guess. Have a guess what they did to achieve this. Like, it's the highest it's ever been in Finland's history. Cocaine and drug use. All within a year, just to say. All within a year, this has gone. So they've cut the support. You know the way you get support? You can get support for getting off drugs, etc. Programs to get off and get clean of drugs. So they've cut that generously by 80%. So basically, say you would have went every weekday to that clinic or whatever to try and get you off the drugs, etc., etc. So now you might be going once a month, basically, because they've cut. It's time to cut. So they've cut that by 80%. They've cut the police drug force task unit by 30%. So basically, they've cut basically everything to the bone, basically all the support for drug users, etc., etc. So they basically have cut all that, and this is the result. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's basically achieved more suffering. It's just insane. Like it's generally just insane. How they've managed to do this. So it gets worse from this. This is what I tried. So in the infinite wisdom too. So they seem to just hate students, to be totally honest. Because they've cut again. Again, like just to emphasize, they've done it again. Like they've already done it before. So more than 150,000 students, housing allowance would be cut. And you're probably like, oh, not by much. But long story short, so say beforehand when Santa Mountain was in government, they were getting €500 or €600 maybe a month for housing support, right? Housing allowance. So take for example, they were getting 600, like just to say. So they've cut it before, so the cut went down to 400 or maybe 350, right? So they're coming along now, and it's time to cut again. So at the moment you might be at 170 for the month, and then they're talking about cutting it even more. So basically, at the most you bet €100 maybe. Uh, so 150,000 to have to live off maybe €100, €170. So basically, it used to be at 600. Now it's down to about 100, 170. Just to put in perspective. So basically, they've completely fucked over everybody else. And the worst part of it all is, you probably could say, well, they not go out and get a job. This is the thing. This is the crucial bit. There's no job because loads of businesses have closed down, shops and stuff like that, small businesses, they've closed down. There's no job. Simple as that. There's no jobs, and the jobs there is there because nobody wants to take on people because they can't afford to take on people. So basically, it's just a constant cycle. Basically, it's just everything's fucked. 90,000 students will need income for their housing expenses. So basically, they've completely just destroyed everybody's generation. It's pretty much what the government here do. Basically, fuck everybody over as much as possible, because they just basically fucked everybody something feels. It is generally that bad. Because how did they go from 600 on the Santa Mountain down to about 170? Now they're talking about bringing it down to €100. And not to mention that I wouldn't mind if they could get a job. Basically, it's the fact about it, nobody can get a job because there's no jobs available. Because nobody wants to employ people at the moment because they're paying like the tax has gone up on employers, etc., etc. So nobody has the money to pay people to work, So that's what's happening. And not to mention that so many businesses closing and people being unemployed, and there's so many more people looking for jobs. It's just the biggest clusterfuck imaginable. And there's so little jobs, and there's so many people looking for it. So it's basically just it's the biggest mess imaginable, basically, to put it straight. It's just generally that bad. Oh, it's not even that open, but I don't even know what it's to do with. I wouldn't mind here. Imagine how much we're spending on direct provision here. I don't know why they're so obsessed with cutting everything, basically. It's not to do with asylum and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not. Finland's probably spending nowhere near to what we're spending on giving people, etc., etc. But I don't get it, basically. No, I don't get it because it's just generally it just seems to be very cruel stuff, especially when you see time we talked about a few weeks ago. They cut people literally dying of cats, so they'll cut their allowances. Literally dying of cats, and they just cut by 20%. They're on just generally on another level. If you don't answer. You would wonder what kind of level they're on, but not even that. Like this, it's that bad. It is just generally that bad. I try and get the article. There was an article in the newspaper in Finland about it. It's just generally that bad that there's no jobs whatsoever because they've literally fucked everything. And not to mention, people are paying more tax than they ever did. So basically, everything is pretty fucked. Give me a second now. I can't emphasize. I'm watching this from the distance. Obviously, I'm talking to people who I know and who I met in Finland and stuff like that. It's astonishing how bad it's got. Basically, it's going to be a completely different country if I ever do go back. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know if there's any good news because it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere anytime soon. But basically, she was on the telly, the minister for sitters. That's literally what she wants to be called, the minister for sitters. And basically she basically no basically I wouldn't go near Finland. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Because the West has fallen. But no, it's always kind of like, just to say the truth, it's always kind of been very weird. Because well, especially when I seen this. Do you remember I showed you this? Like, they seem to take great joy in cutting people. Basically, like, they seem to be very joyful in cutting people because they literally have a chalkboard with whole face on it, literally saying it's time to cut. Um, so I just get so much great joy out of it because the worst thing about it, they seem to be enjoying making people suffer, like making their own people suffer. Not so much asylum seekers or anything that people that are not finished, etc. But literally, they seem to be getting great joy in annoying, like in making their own people suffer. Like they're supposed to be true Finns, etc., etc. And they literally seem to be getting great joy in just destroying their lives, basically. Like again, it just seems to be. It's a very weird party, to be totally honest, because this is weird. Like that's what I would put your head on the chopping board. Like, especially because she likes to be called the minister. Like literally, she has said it herself. The Ministry of Sitters. That's what she refers to the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry said so. Technically, she's the Minister for Sitters, which is just completely weird. Like, and she's the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, the Ministry of Sitters. It's all very, very weird. Yeah, it's just that you're tired. You know, you should go to bed early, and you should be quite this way. And a good night's sleep will do it. Yeah, I don't know, but I suppose it's not really the language. It's just the. I'm sure you would agree that it's very weird kind of thing to do. You know, like it's a very, very weird. Like they are just generally very weird. And I hate to say it about people, but they generally very weird. Let's put it straight to you, uh, because it's just all very weird. Because they just seem to be just more intriguing cutting people. Like I'm sure you remember the Ministry of Sitters comment. But basically, up and down Finland at the moment, like this is just one out of many. Uh, like up and down Finland, I know I keep talking about, but it's so astonishing to see how bad it's got. This Finns ever get power here, but like you're probably saying, this is nothing. But literally up and down the whole country of Finland, businesses like this is a government agency. But as you see, they're cutting 50 jobs, so they were fighting their outlook. So basically, their businesses lose some profit. Basically, the finished food tower, they're not making as much money as they used to. The same as every other business. So you see this up and down every day in the news, in the Finnish news. There's this company getting rid of 100 people. There's another company getting rid of 1,000. There was another big plant that got rid of 1,000 people in Finland. Just cut them, basically. Time to cut, basically. Because the tax is so high and they can't afford to pay people. Like, this is what's happening over and over again, every part of Finland. Basically, there's 50 jobs going here, there's 100 jobs, there's 1,000 jobs going there, there's another 1,000 there. Basically, it's just no such thing as extra people being employed. It's just people losing their jobs. Like this is just the everyday news now in Finland. This company's losing its jobs. You know, people are losing. It's just literally keeps repeating. Yeah, basically. And there's no way to stop them because the true Finns are just determined to cut more. Because it's all just very, very weird. So there was a big scandal just the same thing. I'll talk about it now. Like there's a lot to say about it because it's just generally that big of a thing. Well, to find the article was the one. Yeah, but literally, she should be the get a job fucking with sitters. Because like that's literally what she forced those sitters. Like, there's no such thing I'm ever going to put the budget back. But this is what one student has said. People plunge into deepness. There's no work. There's no benefits. Benefits are gone. They can't take it anymore. Like this is literally everybody's reaction to Finland. People just can't take it. We can't put up with it because it's just generally that bad. This is just the sentiment at the moment of Finland take it anymore because it's just generally that bad. And this is what a young person. He's only about our age, 21, and he's just like it's joking. The whole country's gone to shit. And that's literally, it's very sad to see somebody in the threat. He's just, especially early threat, they saying that they can't take it anymore. Um, and that's the sad reality of it. I know it's a usual thing for us in Ireland to say, but not too much over there. Basically, that makes sense. Sorry, but let me try and sorry. So let me try and explain for a second something. So there was a big scandal in Finland. Now you're probably saying, "What the fuck? A big scandal? There's anything usual there?" Because it's just the same kind of thing. Well, now let me give me a second. So I'm literally stumbling over my word. Joe Biden 2.0. Joe Biden, wake up, Joe. Where is that fucking thing gone? Give me a second. Sorry, I just have to go looking for it. But long story short, I think everybody can agree with me. Like, just to ask everybody in the chat, do you not think they should have kept this woman around in Finland? Do you not think? Do you not think they should have kept her around? Because I said before the election that they would cause a lot of trouble, and even she said that they would destroy Finland. And she's not been wrong, basically, Sana. She's kind of hit the nail on the head and said it straight because it's outrageous how bad they've done. It's generally outrageous. And then you have also in the news. Let me just get this for you, just to show. Because it is another thing. You probably heard me mention it earlier on for a few minutes. No offense, Jesus, don't say that. Because we want this woman to be back in power. That's what no, but what I'm trying to say is, and why I keep talking about it, it's the fact of the matter that countries that did succeed and stuff like that, countries like the Nordic countries, the Scandinavian countries, countries that we should be kind of basing our own country off, basically, that have succeeded in different things. There's not much hope for all of them. That's what I'm trying to say. Of countries that actually were good countries before the true Finns came along. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what we should be basing. As I said, with the education system, as I said, with the health service and stuff. The systems they had before worked. Now they're not working. Like take for example, like before the true Finns came along, there was no such thing as a housing crisis. People could get homeless. There was no homelessness. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if Finland could do it, Ireland could have done it best. That's what I'm trying to say. Because literally, the homelessness was not an issue. Now it probably will be an issue because the true Finns. There was no such thing. Like generally, no such thing. Like something and Finland has roughly the same population as us, etc., etc. So if Finland could have done it, Ireland could do it. But Irish government don't care. But long story short, that's the point in kind of about talking about it, especially being there now. So there is fighting the extremists. So as you can see here, literally people with bulletproof vests, guns and stuff like that. This kind of stuff. And pipe bombs and grenades and AKs and guns and the whole shebang. So these group of around, they're threatening to blow up people. They're threatening to blow up places. They're doing this and that. Like the as you see here, it's just insane amount of this is literally in small armies, water stuff. So basically, these people have risen their heads up. The only reason why, and I said earlier on, because this government at the moment in Finland is very weak. So as you can see, very dangerous people, especially because they are very heavily armed. Like that's TNT there, and this is guns and stuff like that. Like very, very heavily armed. And it just goes to show you this is what's happening in Finland at the moment because there's such a weak government at the moment. They can't really do anything to stop them. A few of them have been arrested, but these are the same people that wanted to attack Sanna Marin, etc., etc. So these people are rising their heads. That's the something too. So eventually, something's going to happen there. Because they have exposed, they have the means to commit atrocities and stuff like that. So yeah, the true Finns are doing great out there. They're doing great stuff. The West has fallen. I want to get the article on the thing, so talk among yourself for a second, sorry. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, sorry. So two things I suppose to cover here, just when I'm here. We need for tonight. But basically, the Finnish Prime Minister, the current Finnish Prime Minister, the leader of the National Coalition Party, his wife's birthday, basically. And long story short, there's a huge uproar in Finland at the moment because people didn't trust him. Because for a long time, just to give us perspective, there's been an unspoken rule, I suppose, in Finland that when prime ministers, particularly, had their time off, because obviously they had a few days, they're allowed a few days off a year. They're allowed just to relax for a few days. Obviously, they're not totally off. They still have to do different things if needs be. But they're allowed 5 or 6 days off just to relax, to relax at home. They don't need to be always on the go. But long story short, there was always such a tradition, even Sanna Marin done themselves, that they would say to Finnish people, I'm going off to this place on a holiday for a while, or I'm going to this part of Finland on a holiday for a bit of a break with my family, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Basically, they would say to people, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. But basically, he didn't do this. This is the first time in a long, long time, nearly 60 years, that the Prime Minister didn't do it. Like, it was an unspoken rule that you would say to people, I'm going off to this part of Finland to go for a walk along this part of the lake. I'm going to go fishing, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring my wife with me, I'm going to do that. He didn't do any of that, basically. There was no such thing as that. They just refused to tell people. So basically, people weren't very happy about that. The unspoken rule was broken. And not even that. that he missed. There was a European Council meeting, and he didn't go. So basically, the long story short, the majority of people in Finland believe the reason why he missed the meeting, like he took that specific day off. He said it was his wife's birthday, and he went to his wife's birthday party. But a lot of people absolutely kicked up fuss because there was a European Council meeting on, and the only reason why, and I do believe myself too. I know he's entitled to spend his wife celebrate his wife's 50th birthday. But the only reason why he didn't go because he didn't want to go and meet other world leaders, the Taoiseach and other leaders, and to say that Finland's doing that bad because they are doing very bad economy wise, and they have the second worst in the European Union employment, and he have to try and justify that to the rest of the European leaders on how bad the country's doing and how he's fucked up only in a year, basically. So I presume that's why he didn't go because even when Santa Marin, I remember even Santa Marin her child's birthday and stuff like that, she had to miss out on to go to meetings and to go to here and to go to that part. She missed out on her husband's meeting. She missed out on the mother's birthday, etc., etc. So basically, as a prime minister, uh, as she kind of said to herself, you expected really to put the country first, your job first, instead of your family. So a lot of people were very, very annoyed because he put his family first. But really, as a lot of people said, he should be putting the country first, the interest of the country, especially going to the European Council meeting. There was nobody there to represent Finland. Uh, Basically, so, you know, that's what a lot of people are very angry about. And it goes back to this, as many you said in many Finnish newspapers, it was about trust. It's the fact of the matter that he tried to hide it. And this is the thing about it. He tried to hide it because usually, as I said, former prime ministers like Sanna Marin, she would always say when she was prime minister, I'm going to this part of Finland with my family. We're going to go for a walk. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do where they're going on their holiday. And definitely Sanna Marin never missed the European Council meeting, etc., etc. She wouldn't go if there was a European Council meeting on holiday. She would only go when there was nothing on, based there was no meetings or European Council meetings, etc., etc. But basically, it's the fact that they didn't tell the Finnish people what they were going to do, etc., etc. They broke that unspoken rule, and then the fact that there was a European Council meeting, and the only reason why he didn't go, in my opinion, too, he only didn't want to go because he didn't want to say to the other Finnish, like the other Taoiseachs, the other prime ministers, how bad the economy was doing in Finland. So that's what I presume, even though he's entitled. But I do take, with meetings like that, he should have put the country first because again, the previous prime minister before him done that. Missed birthdays, missed different things, and put the whole job first before the country. Even though again, she might have celebrated wedding party and stuff like that. People were making assumptions and stuff like that because she was partying during the night, etc., etc. But obviously, there wouldn't be European Council meetings during the night, etc., etc. But that's what I presume. But this was there was a huge, enormous uproar, and there still is a huge, enormous uproar. Because basically, you might be wondering where he went for his wife's birthday party. They went to a fucking swamp, basically, to celebrate his wife's birthday. A swamp. Nothing around, just a swamp, basically. Nothing fancy. And the fact that he didn't say to people, that's what they're not happy about. So, my trends. Yeah, kind of like. But just seeing this, Finnish border guards catch illegal crossing suspects crossing the border in Finland. As you can see, it's lockdown tight. This is the Russian border checkpoints. So they've caught a few people. Like they caught the fellow. He was trying to. He must have been told, like, obviously, he can't get through the Russian Finnish border because it's completely closed. But they caught him. They got him. So, we got him, boys. But basically, they don't take much bullshit in these border guards because I've seen them at Helsinki Airport. Like, they're all very tough looking men. They're not all fat men. They're very tough looking cookies. So they got this one. So it just goes to show they get the people and they do it. If this was not, they wouldn't let him walk away. But basically, that's the news. So I presume we'll be all going to Finland now soon. Oh, Pig Gilly. Leitrim. What about Leitrim? Who cares about Leitrim? Leitrim doesn't exist. But long story short, I'm sure everybody would agree we should have kept your woman around for a while. I think we all agree that she should still be the prime minister. If went, if the election was another election now in the morning, let's be fair, she would get it 100% because the current Finnish government's not bossing. Yeah, it has a small. Doesn't he have a small? Leitrim has a small coastline, like only a few inches or something like that. But no, I think Leitrim does. Like if you look at the top of the map, the top of Leitrim, on the border of Sligo, they do have a small bit of a coastline, like only a small bit, as far as I can get them. Let me see, because I remember looking at maps. I studied a lot of maps of Ireland, etc. So, let me see. But Leitrim doesn't exist, so how can I have a coastline? Leitrim's just another part of Cavan. Piggy. You see, I don't know if you can see that. I might just pull it up on the computer. Yeah, so why do you want to show it in the tablet when I can pull it up on the computer? Give me a second. Give me a moment. So you see, I'll show you now in a second, but I'll just try and explain. Like it's only a small. Like I mean, literally small. Well, it's not small, probably in theory. Give me a moment just to say. But again, this is a white-free calf and territory, just to say. So you see here, this is Bundoran here, County Donegal. This is Sligo over here. So we just zoom in a bit. So this is County Leitrim too. It's a very long county, as you see. Yeah, so this is all calf and territory, basically. The Leitrim's just kind of holding on to it for us. So you see the red lines. This is the border between Sligo. This is Sligo over. You see Sligo town, and this is Ballyshannon, Bundoran, Donegal. This is Fermanagh here, Elliskin. You see that. So you see that small bit of territory. Zoom into it. Like I wouldn't even call it, like it's only about a few inches. So this is the County Donegal. You see the County Donegal line here. So this bit here, about maybe a kilometer, maybe, just barely any. Like you see there, just barely. Yeah, it's one bit like So basically, it's small. It's about a kilometer. That's about a give or take. You probably know Welsh on. A lot of people wouldn't know that, but I know of it. I've seen maps of it. That's a small bit that goes to the sea. Even though Cavan should rightfully have that territory, we should rightfully have it. We should have our own Cavan navy. We should establish a navy. We should take over Leitrim and establish a navy, build a port at that place there. We're going to establish a navy. We're going to have a Cavan navy. We're going to rule the seven seas. Cavan rules the waves. I'm trying to be all serious, but happy serious. Yeah, it's not even. I wouldn't even call it much of a coastline. It's only about a few centimeters. Also, the latest news. Yeah, oh, it's about 4. It's probably maybe. I thought it'd be on the cabinet. So it's bigger. It's bigger than I thought it was. Yeah, but still not that big in theory. I suppose it's all right. I suppose it's better than what Cavan has. We have no. See, that's our wife for territory, so we have claims to that. So you could say, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sean 105 million. You could say it's time to You could say it's time. It's time to cut. It's time to cut Leitrim away. We have to get rid of Leitrim's independence. It's time to cut. We have to cut up Leitrim's independence. It's time to cut Leitrim. That's the new saying. It's time to cut Leitrim up. We're going to cut up the flag and tear it up. We're going to make it Cavan again. That Leitrim's nice. Jesus, this is a pro. This is pro True Finns propaganda. It's the True Finns that are helping the Leatrims. That's how I always knew it. The True Finns are helping Leitrim. I think we all know the Leitrim's helping the True Finns. Leitrim's helping the True Finns. Yeah, it could be. It's time to cut. Time to cut. It's time to cut Leitrim. Yeah, go ahead. There's no really dumb questions in it, apart from if you agree with the True Finns. Like, then there's something very wrong. If somebody actually says the True Finns are actually doing a good job, I don't think there's any hope for people like that. Yeah, it's just West Cavan. Like, it doesn't exist. The fuck? The West has one. Totally true. Why is the brownie so? I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. I don't know the history too much around it. I know what it is. I never was at it, but I know what it is. It's in a castle. You kind of go over and kiss the walk, etc., etc. I don't know. Sean probably would know a bit more about it, though. Evan only. I don't know if he's know much. I know where it is. I know about it. I know I've seen it, but I don't know much history about it. Yes, well, Cavan's the same. We have 365 lakes. Um, you know, with Situs, oh, geez, he's one of the True Finns. I always knew he's one of them True Finns. Then yeah, he's just a True Finn supporter. I wouldn't pass any marks on him. He's just he likes the Situs. Would know it's the True Finns. I always knew the True Finns would get me. No, we're not staying out to midnight. That's one thing for sure. Because I have an appointment at 9 actually. Yeah, it was politicians mainly. That's the snakes. You know. I'm more caught on wats than steaks, but because there's actually loads of wats in Let's House. I'm not even joking. There's 4-legged wats along with 2-legged wats. It's just full of wats. There's just that many wats. There's nowhere to put them. Like quite literally, there's wats in Let's House in the government buildings. Like you couldn't make it up. To be totally honest, I couldn't do that now. She's at the birthday party. Yeah. So many pigeons. In Barcelona. What did Manuel 40 Towers you say? I'm from Barcelona, wasn't it? It feels like, oh, you would probably know sooner or later if you were in Finland. In a month's time, I'll say you would know about it. The snow will come, and the snow is not that nice. When you have 50 feet of it, like it's nice at the moment in Helsinki, but if you went in a few weeks' time, you would know about it. That's what like you know about it, like how bad it is at the moment with the cold, like because it's that bad. Like the cold is insane. Like the original plan for me was going to the 6th of December, finish Independence Day, and you mean to say I would go on the 6th of December to Helsinki? It literally probably minus 20 degrees. Like quite literally, that's going to be what it'd be 15. Like it'd be colder than I ever lived in my life. Basically, everything just freezes. So so the West has fallen. The minions over there. I don't like. I don't have any place to put them out. Dun, 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 dun. Cavan minions. Yeah, reindeer. Yeah, like well, you wouldn't see. It depends on what part of Finland. You wouldn't see them in Helsinki. Um, um, I like vanilla cakes. It's just vanilla. I'm a big fan of the vanilla cakes. What was it? I was going to say something, but I can't think of it now. Conditions over. Yeah, they all seem to want golden steps. The West has one. Meanwhile, the Finnish media. I find this very funny. So breaking news. What is Sarah only said? I had to read in a second, but we had to look at the breaking news. So literally, these journalists wrote up a big article. Like she literally just went to a birthday party, and it's just literally they literally write up a huge article. Like she's barely there 10 minutes, and nobody have a huge article. Like look at this. She just went to a birthday party, and they're literally writing up a big fucking essay on what she's doing. Like she's had her friends' birthday parties. Like leave the woman alone for 5 minutes. Um, like look at this. Like it just keeps going. Like she only went to the party. Like she's only after going there. Like the funniest thing is, I actually know the place that they're at because I know she was there at the moment. But I went past this restaurant 6 or 7 times. Like I know whereabouts it is, based in Helsinki. And like I've seen it. I wasn't in it, but I know of it. But basically, it's very funny. They're just doing it like literally. They're not in the private function. It's just basically only people walking in and out. It's very peculiar thing because It's, but long story short, they wrote a big article about it that way. I don't know. Very interesting headline at the top. Actually, the woman only went to a birthday party. I missed half of the stuff what you said. James Bond headquarters, a mission to Helsinki. Yeah, we have missions to Helsinki, of course. Yeah, but like, she literally only went to a birthday party and they're writing up a big, huge article. Like, she literally only went to a party. Like, she hasn't even started yet. Like, well, obviously, there'd be a big, huge dancing competition, to be a huge nightclub, and etc. etc. Like, that's obvious. That's very obvious. So there'd be a huge, like, basically, that's the Finnish media at the moment. The whole country's going to shit, but yeah, Sanna Mountain's gone to a party. Write up a huge article. Like, literally, the country's gone to shit. Sanna Mountain's more important than the country. No, I haven't seen it. Yeah, you're asking me now for 3 weeks. No, you can get. I can go for 3 months now as a European citizen. You can go for 3 months. But why would you go and have the true Finns fucking over everybody? Yeah, like the true Finns to be on another level. Well, there won't be such thing as the Feds force. I know you're saying about probably what they're doing in the Feds force, the quotas and stuff like that. I think that's what you're talking about there. Like there won't be the Feds forces in less than 10 years' time. There won't be an army. It'd be a European army. The European Union would have to send over an army here to protect us, aka protect. Because let's be fair, there's literally no army. There's nobody joining the army. The numbers keep going. I showed them the other night, like they're in the toilet. Like the literally true Finns numbers, basically. Yeah, it's just gone. It's gone. The West has fallen. Question: does actually people think the West has fallen? Does people do think that? Because I do think the West has fallen a bit. I do a poll. It's photo. Photo. I soon have to go because I have a phone call. Has the West fallen? I can't even spell fallen. I'm that dumb. Give me a moment. I can't see the chat at the moment. Photo. Has the West fallen? Also Irish too. The Tá is yes and Neil is no in Irish. So we're speaking some Irish. Now, I try and use Irish now and again. The bits I know. Again, I'd love to know the whole, speak full Irish, but not a hope. Is it me? 50-50. Nobody thinks the West has fallen. What I mean by that, the West has fallen. And like I think the values of democracy and of freedom, of independence and sovereignty is basically in the toilet now. Basically, it's just it's all woke, to be honest. Like woke is not even an identity; it's just woke, and it's just nothingness. It's just basically nothingness. That's the way I describe woke. It's just nothingness. It's looking for an excuse to start trouble, to start annoyance, to start to start some kind of messed up situation. I'm sure is the way I would describe it. Like wokeness is nothingness, basically. That's what I see it as. That's the way I think. No, everybody doesn't think the West has fallen. Like I generally, after I've seen, like when you look at Finland, you genuinely think Finland has fallen. Definitely, when you look at Finland, like Finland has fallen. Like it's Jovo, like for Finland, it's generally Jovo. It's going to take a long time to bear that damage. Let's put it that way. Particularly Ireland has fallen too, because this government is just insane. Maybe when they pass the hate speech regulation, that the West has fallen then. So we have Chocta Italdic, how would it Toclic Atonic, Tá, I can't think of it now. I'm thinking of, like I've learned it before. Toclic Atonic, no. I'm putting myself in spot now, but Fotal has Fotal Igobawai or something. There's a Guai or something like that, yeah. And Neil has had it. Sorry, I'm mixing myself up now trying to take the Irish translation. Neil has had it 60%. Nisha is Neil has it. The West has not fallen, which is good. That's I suppose it's a good argument. The West hasn't fallen yet. We do one more photo. How does that sound? Just a few nuisance. I hate to say it, but I think the Russians have hacked this. I think the Social Democratic Party has hacked my account. Oh gosh, democracy is a great thing. So yeah, it's great. Who votes to invade Legion? We can do that vote next. I probably shouldn't, because the FBI might look into it. We're going to be taking names now. It's not a. I can see who voted in this poll. So yeah. No, who voted? No, this is a disgrace. These are true Finn supporters. Disgraceful. Like the West is truly fallen. Of course. Like we need to end the vote. We had to stop the count. Stop the count. Yeah, of course, everybody agrees. The no was the Russians. There was one foul from the Russian side. The true Finns, it's the true Finns. Democracy. This is what democracy is all about. When the vote's not democracy. The will of people, etc., etc. I'm only joking. Don't mind me. Again, at the end of the day, people are entitled to their opinion. So yeah, anything else? Yeah, no, it's not wigged. What do you mean? There was something else. Was there anything else I needed to bring up in Ireland's preference? I said that in the very American trying. Ireland's preference. Island boys away, island boys away. Island boys away. Just, I know what to take off the tinfoil hat for a second. Like that's basically all the country too. It's not just Navan. Like, look at Paul Cronus. I can't say much more to that, but the West has fallen. But so you probably heard about the stabbing in Germany. Like, what is with all these young boys going and stabbing people? Like in Galway just last week, a man, like not even the man, he's a only a Gosson, went and stabbed the priest, a chaplain of the Irish Defence Forces, and he was only 15, wasn't he? And this fellow is 15 too. So what's with all these? And he's, I don't know. He probably is from some part of the Middle East, but apparently the Irish, like what happened in Galway, he was an Irish. Like, it's hard to know, but he apparently is from Ireland. So I don't know. Is it because people reading Islamic State stuff online or whatever? But it's very. There's only 15. The same as this. Is like. It's all young, like very, very young men that's doing this. I don't know why somebody would do this too, because they killed 3 or 4 people. I don't know why they would, especially don't know why. Like, it's very weird why people do such a thing, and why people would want to hurt other people too, like in that way. They didn't even know the people. That's the thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But it's a crazy world. That's all I say. Yeah, the cavan was I came across it before. I know kind of, for I know some of her family. Yeah, that makes any sense. Well, for the vote here, no photo ID. Yeah, that's the great thing about democracy here. Yeah. Yeah, the great thing about democracy, you don't need anything. You can vote all the time you want. The Lisbon Treaty, yeah, you can think again. Do we want to have another vote? Do we? Is this just turned into democracy? I might just change the name to the Democracy Simulator channel. Like, it's just democracy. Do we want to have another vote? So Chucky Todish Thaw, Chucky Todish Neil, vote all. I'm trying to speak Irish. It's fading terribly. Maybe I'm doing good. I don't know. Alan says, yeah, well, she met me, her mom. Stop the couch. Give me a second. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. We should get Michal Mountain onto the stream. Let's give Michal Mountain a call. Oh no, God bless him and save us. He came onto the stream. Jeez, that drives me mad. The most important thing to me, Michal, is my Irish sovereignty. Somebody said that to him. It was like a little kid. It was outside some pub or something. And the kids, like the father said to Michal Mountain, the most important to you thing is Irish sovereignty. So Micheál Martin is pretty pissed at it. Yeah. Yeah, obviously. But the funniest thing was, and a lot of people even talked about it before. Uh, like she was obviously the Prime Minister of Finland. He was the Taoiseach, the Taoiseach. There we are. So you see the Finnish thing. Like I have one of them. What was it called? Like they are very small. Like that's about the same size. Like I was saying it to them too. That this is fucking almighty small. Like you couldn't even see it. You know, even if you wanted to see, like, look how small this is. And this is what I was given with the Irish embassy to wear. Like this yoke, the size of it. Like this is the same. So maybe it's a bit bigger his, but literally that's the one I got. Like I'd be looking for a bit bigger one. They better give me a bigger one at some stage. So I'm not happy with it. But basically, long story short, even the Finnish media were talking about it at the time that literally they actually made a good assumption, some of the Finnish media, on it, because the Irish media just wouldn't talk about it. The fact that Micheál Martin, he done everything possible to become Taoiseach. He literally sold his soul. He sold everything. Do you remember he was saying before the election in 2020 that Fianna Fáil will not go into coalition with Fine Gael? And that completely went out the window. Do you remember he said that to people? Fianna Fáil will not go into coalition with Fine Gael. And, that completely fucked it. Basically, he sold everybody down the river to become Taoiseach. And the coalition they were making with Sanna Marin, she was only 32 or something like that in this picture. And he's literally 60 something in this picture, to say. So the difference between literally her being Prime Minister at 31 and him getting to the top job after after trying to literally selling everybody down the river to become Taoiseach. Because let's be fair, if he didn't become Taoiseach, he would have been the only Fianna Fáil leader in Irish history not to be Taoiseach, not to get the top job. So, he literally sold everybody down the river. But basically, I don't know what she must have thought of this Cretan. Because considering I don't think he had much time for her anyway too, because Sandra said a few times about Finnish sovereignty. So I don't think he was that too enticed about it. And it's even when I was there, I heard the word sovereignty 3 or 4 times. So I don't think he ever wanted to meet her again. Let's put it that way. But that's the only time really. And she did send, one time when St. Patrick's Day, when she was Prime Minister, she said best wishes to the Irish community in Finland on the celebration of St. Patrick's Day. So she does. She knows of Ireland, obviously, of course. Putting up with it. I say she wanted to get rid of him. Because let's be fair, he'd be no fun. Let's put it. Yeah, but no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I would love to know what she would have taught him, because I'm assuming she would remember who he was, etc., etc. But I don't know, was she that impressed with him? Because let's be fair, she wouldn't be that cool. But that was the only time she could have met any Irish diplomat, as far as I know. But no, the Finnish media at the time, they did make a good exception, because Archie never would talk about it. That he literally sold everybody down the river to become Taoiseach. Like he literally, because I remember him saying specifically, Fianna Fáil would not go into coalition with Fine Gael, and long and behold, guess what they did? They went into coalition with Fine Gael. And Micheál Martin, for years was in opposition and stuff like that, and literally sold his soul to get into the top job. Because again, he would have been the only leader in Fianna Fáil's history not to get the top job. So he literally sold everybody down the river to get the job as Taoiseach. That's actually I know about one place where there's a GA ground in some part of Helsinki, like a good bit out of Helsinki. There's a GA ground, because I was told about it. I was talking to Irish people over there when I was there. I was in many Irish pubs, and they said to me about there's an Irish GA ground who were having matches or something like that. So I could have went, but this is a good bit of a journey I take away. I'll try and get it on the map now, actually. But it's an interesting. If I had more time, if I had a while to spend, we only had a week and I had that much to do. But you know, give me a second. I was thinking about at the train. Remember whereabouts and outside. I say. Give me a second. Like there is a good, like you might not think, but there's actually a good few, Irish people. Not that many, but not as opposed as many as other countries. But there's a few. There's not many, but there's a few. Now this is a good bit outside Helsinki. It's not like anywhere near where I was. Like it's way out of Helsinki. Like it's about an hour away or so. Helsinki Harpo Street. So it's only founded in 2011. I can't get the location on the map, but yeah, this is the place I was talking. Because I was talking to somebody in one of the pubs in the Molly Malone bar. He plays or something. He was saying there's some kind of game, and he was saying to me I should come, etc., etc. And the funniest thing was a lot of people were Irish people there. The one thing Irish people when you go abroad, anybody that was ever abroad, if you meet other Irish people, like, oh, where are you from? What county are you from? That's always the thing when I was there in Finland to any Irish person I met. They're always like, oh, which county are you from? Whereabouts? Oh, I have a friend. I used to be up there in Cavan. I used to go through Cavan in there. So. And you know what? Everybody was very, very, there was the biggest talk probably in the Irish community. Why a Cavan person? Who paid for you to come to Finland? As one of them said, who paid for you? Who gifted you the money to come to Finland? Who paid for you? Because Cavan people wouldn't pay fucking tuppence. Because there's a lot of slagging about Cavan. But it's always the funniest thing when you're anywhere. Irish people always, as soon as you say from Ireland, the other fellas from Ireland. Oh, whereabouts? And oh, yes, I used to go through there. I knew somebody from there now, and I knew that fella down there. And so he said, oh, gosh, I look at here's a man. Now, he wouldn't spend tuppence, but you're lucky. And so look at that. That's what they'd be like. Compared to Finnish people, they're not. They wouldn't really talk to each other, basically. But they're not Irish friends, but there's a few there. There's not many now. There's not that huge. I say in total, the whole Irish population in Finland is about 3,000, which is not much. Compared to when you look at Australia, there's over 100 and something thousand Irish people in Australia. Like, Australia is nearly full of Irish people. There was more men, like middle-aged men, more than anything else. That's the way I don't know why they're there. I presume a lot of them, like one of them has a Finnish wife. Remember him saying that. That's why he was there from Carlo. And he's a Finnish wife, so I presume he wanted to move there. He probably gets more. Well, probably doesn't now, but beforehand he probably got more money on the pension or whatever than he would if he lived in Ireland, because he would have grounds to stay there because of his wife's Finnish and she has a Finnish passport, etc., etc. But there you go. It's a good bit outside house. I don't know if everyone go and buy it. Yeah, well, it's soon coming up, but I don't get it. It's a very peculiar thing, but where's the mod? What mod? Yeah, it was New Zealand. It was New Zealand Wars, yeah. Cut back here too. What do you mean there's cutbacks here? There's cutbacks the way it is in True Finns. Like even during the austerity times in 2008, I don't think it was even close to what they did in Finland at the moment. I generally don't. And if the True Finns leader seen how much Ireland was in debt, if she's seen Ireland's debt, she would die, basically. She would have a fit and die. Because let's be fair, if she's seen the amount of money Ireland owes in debt, like compared to Finland's debt, is not even in the same patch. But anyway, before I go tonight, this is Senna's Instagram post for tonight, so you can look into them eyes. Anyway, so I think we leave it there after that bombshell for tonight. So thank you for watching, everybody. If we can say now. Yeah, so it's around the 30. It's a bit after, yeah. So, long story short, too. I know I usually say long story short. Uh, I was going to say something, but I won't. Um, oh, should I? I don't know. Um, there is conversations between Butler Spurgeon and Helsinki at the moment. Um, there is plans in the works. That's all we can say. But nothing concrete yet. There's no dates or anything. But there is discussions. Basically, I will say. Um, in the most foreseeable future, let's put that way. Um, so take that as you. That's all I can really say. Um, but there is discussions. That's what I said. So it'd be interesting, in not within the next few months, but in a few months' time. Well, less than a year. Let's put out. No water there. As I said, it'd be too cold if we did go out. But I will confirm we are going back to Finland at some stage. Um, within the next few months, basically. Um, I can't give much more detail to that, but that's the straight up fact. But obviously not to stay, but obviously for a few weeks we've been invited to a few things. Um, so we see. I can't say much else than that, but that's what I say. How does that sound? Hopefully, be a bit more videos and stuff like that. No, we're not planning any other country. Can confirm that there's no plans to visit any other country. There was plans if I was going to go to the Oslo Business Conference, which is next month, but we didn't. We shoved that a long time ago uh, because I would have had the opportunity to go, but I didn't. And I said, as I said, with Copenhagen, I was asked to go to Copenhagen for the meet ten at that time for the Democracy Summit. I didn't go to that, so that would have been the only reason why I would have went to another country. But I will confirm that we've been Helsinki for a few days, basically, and then we'll be in some other part of Finland. We're not going to. I can confirm 100%. We're not going up near Lapland in the north of Finland. I know that for a fact, but there's other parts of Finland we will be going to. Again, it won't be that long of a trip, but it'll be a few things as well. But it's not Christmas, anyway. 100% not Christmas. It's in the next foreseeable future, in the next year, let's say. And that's really all I can say. I'm not giving too much away. So that's really, I can't say much more than that. At least now I'm telling you. Beforehand I didn't say, like, we were often sitting here, before I went to Finland, and I wouldn't say anything. I knew 100% about it. Like, there was talk. I will say there was talk about going to St. Patrick's Day because they do have a St. Patrick's Day parade, and it was suggested to me that I should go in March, but I won't go. It won't be March, and 100% it's not going to be March. That's all I can say. But it's not going to be March anytime near March, because the still is not the best circumstance in March. Basically, what I'm trying to say about circumstance in March, it still can be cold in March. So that's what I'm trying to say. It can still be very, very cold, basically. So it's not the best time to go. So, but it was talked about we could go in St. Patrick's Day because we were going to have a small St. Patrick's Day parade, but it's not. Could be full of snow. One St. Patrick's Day, not last year, the year before that, it was just 2 feet of snow. But not even 12 feet of snow. So that's what you're risking. I can't confirm or deny. We'll wait and see. So that's all I can say. But obviously the whole plans need to be ironed out, etc., etc. But we're working out. We're working on it as we speak. So that's that's it in Irish, yeah. But that's the agenda. I wasn't going to say anything, but this is bare minimum one I can tell you, basically, without giving too much away. But hopefully, all going well anyway. Hopefully going well. Yeah. Then I think we leave it there. So on that bombshell, I think we all kind of knew it, like, because I let it kind of slip at a few stages. I let it slip that if I do go back, you remember when I said of the GA pitch, if I do go back, like I kind of let it slip. Like I had to try and silence these, try to stop me that. But it was very difficult going back to when I originally went. I was often sitting here on some nights and stuff like that. People be asking me about different things. And me sitting here and not saying anything, like it's very well done how I couldn't kept my mouth shut for so long about it, and only when I toned up did you know. But long story short, just won't know until the day I turn up. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. There'd be no statement given before I go. Basically, it'd be just I turn up, and that'd be it. Yes. So, what a spice bag! No. But anyway, here we leave it there. Thank you for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll be back probably hopefully Wednesday. All going well. We see Wednesday. Don't know. Might see. You remember you mentioned the metro system. Oh yeah, the metro system. Yeah, it's like it's 100 years in front of our London stuff like that. Like we haven't even got it like on underground. That's sometimes the metro system. Then the trams and stuff. Like it's Trat's been nice, but like we haven't even the metro. Like it's supposed to be up and running soon, but Anyway, I go. I leave it to it. Thank you for watching, everybody. But don't now post it everywhere that confirmed this YouTube was going here, and confirmed this is confirmed information. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, subscribe more, and bye bye.